call the meeting to order. Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. I saw Miss Holcomb here. Is Brother Holcomb here?
No, sir, he didn't work this morning.
Okay. Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. All the commissioners are here. Mr. Sanoff here?
Yes, sir.
Instead of putting you on the spot, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm looking for somebody to lead us in a word of prayer after the pledge. Are you up for that?
Absolutely.
If you're not, forgive me for putting you on the spot.
I'm good.
I knew you could do it.
You got sterling recommendations over here. So I'd like to ask that you all please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance, followed by a word of prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please pray with me. Our dear loving Heavenly Father, we're so thankful we have the opportunity and the freedom to come here and do work, Father, to serve this community and look at ideas from different perspectives and come together in solutions. Father, we ask your blessings on this leadership team, Father, as they look to handle the things that we'll talk about today and so many things that we're not even aware of, Father. We ask that you guide their hands and that you guide us, that you bless our community as we deal with different difficulties. Father, help us to work together as one. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
So you realize probably every time I see you in the crowd, thank you very much. We're down to item number 4, public comments. Do we have any public comments? Sure. Okay, we do. Yvonne Combs.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm here to talk in support of Ms. Dee Dee Adams' request to have her late husband's name memorialized in the park, which she has mentioned, I think, to you before. I was privileged to be a friend to Neil Adams at one point in my life. And I'm on the city council in Shepherd. I think you know that. I think you know also I'm also the Shepherd Chamber of Commerce president. And in both those roles, Neil and I worked together. And he was a man of great dedication and determination to do the best he could. And I know we say that about a lot of people who have gone before us. And in his case, it's absolutely true. I'll give you an example. One day I was in the city hall, I went into the city secretary's office and there was Neil behind a long table covered in paper. I said, Neil, what are you doing? And he had a big pad beside him he was writing on. And he said, I'm learning the code of ordinances. And that code is 20 chapters long and each chapter is pretty complicated, covering everything to do with life in our city. And the city council had just instituted this code of ordinances for our residents in an attempt to keep control of how things were expanding, since we know everything is coming this way. And there was me learning the code of ordinances. And I said, wow, he said, well, I want to make sure I do it right. And he did it so well that this court of commissioners gave him a job to do the whole county environmental officer. That's how he was. He was a man who, when he took a job on, he did it right. Now, all those who do it will be very, very gratified, happy to see his name memorialized as his widow. We'd like to see. Thank you very much for this.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Next, I have Jewel Jackson.
I'm also here to speak on behalf of naming a park for Neil. I didn't know Neil for very long, but I know that he was a very honorable man. And my husband's lived in San Jacinto County for a long time, and he's known the family a lot longer than I have. And I just think that it would be an honor to name the park after him.
Carissa.
You'll say my name right someday.
Not Christian.
I'm also here to speak on behalf of Neil Adams. I know y'all have a very difficult job. I know it's an emotional decision and not just a black and white decision. But I'm going back to the memorial after Neil passed away and how this building was standing room only for Neil because he served this community and the community recognized it. So I think it's our turn to recognize him and memorialize him with this park. That being said, I know that Dee Dee has worked very hard the past 2 years and she's put the work into it to make sure that this happens for her husband, and I think that that needs to be considered also.
What did I say? How do you pronounce your name?
Teresa.
What did I say?
Carissa.
Carissa. Yeah, okay.
Just remember Teresa with the show.
Dee Galando.
Good morning, everybody. I'm here also on behalf of Neil Adams. I didn't know him very long, but as everybody else before me has stated, he was a very upstanding person and he dedicated his life in service of the people of San Jacinto County. He lived here, he worked here, and he loved here. And he had many friends, and I think that it would be most fitting if we named the park after him. Thank you.
Roger Samoff.
Gee, I get 2 bites of the apple.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I have 2 things that I want to touch on. One is the park. And while I think it's a wonderful thing that all the work that's been done in the park and all the positive things that have been said about Neil, we also are a community of veterans, whether veterans in public service, as the police officers, firefighters, as well as the military. You know, I've got friends in this community that fought or were wounded in battle fighting for our freedom. And so what I would like to encourage as compromise is that the park be named something like San Jacinto Memorial Park, but that there be a section placed where individuals can be recognized. Seen it a lot of different ways, in a lot of different places. I think even at the library, they're looking to do that next year for people that have been big supporters of the library with bricks or different things. But I think that to recognize one individual, regardless of all the work, and overlook the others is probably not the best choice.
Matt? Let him talk.
Second item, something that I don't think there's anything on the agenda, But again, I'm concerned about the ESD. I have been doing
The ESD?
ESD. I've made mention publicly of things that have been printed in the newspaper that were false. I've taken them down. I find a difficulty with the leadership. But more importantly, my concern is the fact that we're not giving the leadership guidance. You're right, Fritz. We don't, you guys don't own the accountability. They've got to run it. But at the end of the day, we have individuals where how things have been handled. If I were a chief, I'd be a little worried about my job if I didn't go along. We had a standard contract cancellation period of 180 days. But originally they came in and kept that 30. Made no sense. When over the last, I think Brian said he'd been on the board for 10 years, I didn't do my homework to figure that out. But while over the last 10 years, we've been working as an ESD to consolidate policy, to work collaboratively with the chiefs, to deal with issues. Why do we need to be in such a great hurry to accumulate assets under ESD? Why are we not, as a leadership team from that group, looking to try to find ways to make all of the work together better and then address the asset issue after 12 months? You got to remember that these guys all have 501c3s. So if we hurry up and rush, we put all of those at risk, and then if there's a mistake, now we're over. We say we're in a difficult time for volunteers, and yet we seem to be doing things that make it difficult for the volunteers. One of the things that was represented, I apologize for rambling on here, but one of the things that was shared at one of the last meetings by ESD board members was the fact that there was an issue where you had someone who couldn't get out. There was a fire alarm about 3 o'clock in the morning, and they complained about the time it took for that to be run. But the times were misrepresented. It took about 20 minutes. But you had one of the individuals that had to go to the helicopter pad, okay, to be prepped to be in position to allow them to land so that they could take the individual. Unfortunately, she was a little bit too heavy to take, so they had to take another route. But when you begin to see misrepresentations, and like I've said at many of their board meetings, trust is the issue. We need to trust this group here. We need to trust the board at ESD. And I quite honestly would say, I'm not in a position to trust that. You guys, last time I was here, addressed an issue about having the authority to terminate an individual on the board. Just a policy change. But for some reason, you felt like that was going to put undue pressure on those individuals. Well, from my perspective, they need a little pressure.
Mark Woods. It's just one Wood. I've been calling you by the wrong name.
You have been calling me by the wrong name. First time I heard you call that.
It's not is that the worst thing you've ever been called?
Absolutely not, sir. Guaranteed. Judge, Commissioners, I'd like to talk a little bit about this park. I think it's a good idea. I think that it's a worthy thing to do. But I would like to remind the court, especially our 2 new members over there, that 1 year ago today, this court passed a proclamation, and we called it Declaring Appreciation Day in San Jacinto County as August 13th for those that were at end of watch. At that time, this court recognized 5 people. Don't know if that list is complete. Certainly, as the gentleman said, I don't think we have any of the veterans in there.
Do you
Name it for one person.
Do you have the 5 names? 'Cause
I do.
Honestly remember those names.
Danny Galloway, Brian Fluger, Paula Phillips, Neil Adams, and Lonnie Nichols.
Who's
And
the
that,
last one?
Lonnie,
Fire department. Yeah.
yes, the fireman. All of those people saw him to watch. To name it for one person probably isn't the right thing to do.
Tricia Basham.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Tricia Basham. I'm a resident of San Jacinto County. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm here to respectfully oppose the proposal to name the county-owned park Neil Adams Memorial Park. This is not out of any disrespect. Neil Adams, whose service and tragic death are deeply acknowledged, but I believe this decision raises an important issue on fairness and local recognition. Officer Adams was killed in the line of duty, but not while serving within San Jacinto County. Meanwhile, our own community has lost dedicated officers who served and died right here, including Bo Galloway and Brian Fleer. Their sacrifices have been in direct service to the people of this county. As of now, there is no county park, road, or public landmark named in their honor. That's something I believe needs to be addressed before naming a park after someone who served elsewhere. If we are going to dedicate a public park to law enforcement, it should be done with full community input, and it should honor all of San Jacinto County's fallen heroes. One idea might be a name like San Jacinto County Heroes Memorial Park, a name that honors every officer who gave their life in the line of duty for this county. I respectfully ask the court to pause the naming process, engage the public, and ensure that we recognize the full scope and sacrifice made by our local law enforcement. Thank you.
Gina Holcomb.
Good morning, everyone.
Was Jerry retired or is he still working?
No, sir, he's not retired, but he sure does want to.
I'm just curious.
I sure do wish he did, because AC is very hard in the summertime.
Yeah.
He's like, gets home very late, and, yeah, I sure do wish he could retire, but it's coming.
We miss him.
And y'all be seeing him a lot more when he does.
We really do.
So this is a very sensitive issue on the naming of this park, and I completely understand everyone's aspect as far as there's been many lost souls here in this community, many people who have died, many people who have lived here and died. Very, very sensitive issue, and I completely understand everybody's take. As far as the fact that Neil was not serving in this community when he died does not mean he did not represent this community. No matter what we do in this community, when we're not in our specific community, we're still representing the community that we live in. So that I did not agree with at all. However, Neil not only worked in this community and served this community, he was a part of it. He was the heart. He loved this community so much, and everybody that met him knew that his heart was for this community. In his last days, he was the environmental officer, and he was making sure this community was beautified and healthy to live in, and he made sure of that. His Dee has worked tirelessly. Since I've been here for 23 years. I have asked multiple people, I have made it known we need a heart for children and families, people to bring their kids, people to bring their grandkids, to have family time. We all have to go other places away from our community, and if we're going to speak of community, that is what a community is. I asked and asked. At one point I was told the money allotted for that was spent on something else. That was years back, so I won't go into that. Second, I was told it just can't happen. I did never understand why. She's been working for over 2 years now to make sure, and it's part of helping beautify our community. It's part of helping the families and who we are. Yes, she wants to name it after her late husband. I don't blame her. I really don't blame her, and I know none of y'all blame her. There is going to be, from what I understand, a memorial wall for everyone who has passed in here. So it will be honoring everyone. The fact that she just wants to name it after him, I don't think it's a huge deal. I don't think it should be controversial as it has been. I understand you'll have a huge decision, and I, of course, will stand by whatever decision which I make. But I just wanted to put forth these thoughts and tell y'all how I felt from my heart about it all, and the fact that I am just so excited we're going to actually have a community park for our families. And that's really all I wanted to say today. And I do respect all y'all do and come here to do, because it's a very hard position and I wouldn't want to be in your position actually. But I just wanted to come up here and give y'all that for a thought process. And I appreciate you taking the time to listen to us all.
Just for the record, we've had a park since about 19 years. We got a grant back in,
Yeah, and it never got finished.
19 years, no, we ran out of money. We had a grant and we $250,000, and when we got to 250, we thought, 250, man, we can build another Astro World out here. Time you take the grant administrator's cut, the engineer's cut, and we put some pretty nice playground stuff, but one of the pieces she's located to add on to it now is $100,000. And it's like, first, but, you know. So
I do
we do
understand
have
that she's put forth, everybody wants this, and over this 23 years I've been here, it could have been, somebody could have done something. Even I could have done something, I just didn't have it.
There have been some efforts in the past, but she's brought new life to it.
Yes, she has.
I'm the first one to mention that.
Yes.
She
She
certainly
sure
has.
has, and I've also done other things to help with this community, so that's all I was saying with that.
I thought you were done, so I wasn't trying to.
You're fine.
You were on a roll, and I didn't have to stop you.
Yes, sir.
So, anyway.
I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Yes, ma'am. Next I have Sharon Eldridge.
Good morning to the courts. Thank you for being here today and hearing me out. Everyone has said some very important things, and I like to piggyback. I like to say ditto, especially to this gentleman and to everyone that's here, to Mrs. Adams, whom I know have worked with for a long time. I have been in this county since 1982, living in San Jacinto County in Cold Springs. Neil Adams was very dear to the Eldridge family because he done a lot of great things. He was the environmental officer, but before he was that, he was a detective. And my brother-in-law, who lived in this county, not far from here, on David Lane, he was in a bad place. And I want everyone to hear me. Neil took the time to clean up that area. He did. And he did just that. And he did welfare check for my brother-in-law. I won't call his name. With that being said, this gentleman here said something very important. I have a son who is a veteran. Graduated in 2000 from Cold Spring. Did 3 tours. Our time. With that being said, I agree with him too. Because everyone has said some great things. Now, listen to me. I need to ask a question. I didn't even know about this until recently, until all the noise and words and stories being said. Yes, Neil was working an off-duty job. I did not know that a lot of the officers did that. I just didn't see it when I first started working in the DA's office in 2008. So I've been there 17 years. I didn't know that. And so when I got home and it was on the news, I got off at 5 o'clock. It was on the news and I'm like, so the next day I asked my former employer, well, was he shopping? He said, no, he was working an off-duty job. And I'm like, what? I couldn't believe that so many officers have to do that and they are still doing it. And I understand the county that we live in, you don't have a lot of business, a lot of resources, a lot of where they can bring money into the county. But my question is to Ms. Adams. And I know he's here to you.
It's really not a question and answer. Say what you gotta say, we're not putting nobody.
Is she using her own resources to do this? So that's I'm just wondering, because if the county is using the resources, and since I'm part of the county, that's why I have to agree with everyone, especially you, because you set the tone. So I just thought I could only talk about Neil. But I know we have an officer, December the 21st, 2019, Brian Luger. He was a deputy at the sheriff's office. I remember it like yesterday. But when I got the news, it was Sunday morning. And one of my church members called me, so I called Just Track, and he told me, yes, that broke my heart. So not only him, he mentioned Bo Galloway. I remember him, but I didn't have the pleasure to work with him like like Neil, like Brian Pfluger. But there was another officer in the 1950s that was killed in the line of duties. Coming from a military family, from the community, I think it should be, if we're going to call it anything, it should be like the San Jacinto County Memorial. I agree with that. But we should have a special, maybe a special place for Neil because he resides in this county. And we also need to have a special place for all the other officers that died in the line of duty. They were all officers, they were community, they were civil servants, they served their community. So we need to recognize each and every one of them. And I will leave you with this. What doeth the Lord require thee? We got to do justly, we got to love mercy, and we have to be humble. And with that being said, I'm finished.
Thank you. Just to address the part about everybody probably wondering how it's going to be paid for. It's going to be seeking grants, some grant money. We got some county money that's in a fund that's kind of restricted, at which Ms. Adams has breathed life into the source of that. It's from sales tax, but where it has to do with Airbnbs, hotels. We wasn't collecting hardly anything on that. We did a bunch of research and kind of like found a gold mine, you might say, that they now claiming considerable income that's got to be used for economic development, and we feel like the park is tied to economic development. If somebody decides they want to move here, well, they got kids, are there any parks around? Well, actually, yeah, we've got a few in this one here. So kudos on that. And is she putting any money? I don't want to speak for her, but I know that she's a very generous person, and they own a trucking company. Who knows? They may donate some dirt or some rock. But I'll let her talk about that. But it wouldn't surprise me if she doesn't donate some, because that's just the kind of person she is. Anyway, let me get back to the next one. Mr. George Garrett.
I'm a coming, Mr. Dillon.
George, that was my grandfather's name.
Congratulations. There's probably not much I can add regarding the Neil Adams situation. I don't know if you guys knew him very well. I did. And he was as fine of a person as everybody's already mentioned. Now, I also understand, people looking for equitable treatment for other people, but in my opinion, There's nothing wrong with particularly naming a park after a person who is, I think, truly a hero. So having said that, I do hope y'all take a hard look at this, and I do hope to conclude that there's nothing improper about recognizing Neil Adams. Thank you. Who's trying to make me dance?
Turn that phone off, please, take it outside.
He's trying. He's trying.
George Washington. I turned it off earlier, put it on airplane, because it embarrassed me when they did. Next, I see, Mariana Quintanilla.
Good morning, officer. The reason I'm here today is because I have an issue with our subdivision of Fort Ranchette.
Oak Forest Ranchette?
Correct. I've been living for 27 years in that subdivision, and we've been working so hard to keep our access and our road and very standard to drive in and out. A few days ago, for some reason, they decided to destroy the road. I'll say it that way because that's the only way I can say it. The question is, when or how we're going to amend that issue. The other thing is the homeowner association that we've been working through so many years, we've been paying and nothing has been done. My issue is, how can we get away the homeowner association because of the workers not working for the community? Now,
So, you're paying to the homeowners association?
correct, through the years.
Okay, but you understand we have no control over the homeowners association.
We already hear so many times that, but that law they've been registered to the state. So it's not, the community is hopeless because it's not working. So now my question is, the school bus has been not running through this our road because our road is not a safety for the kids and for the school bus.
Are you in Trailhead?
Oak Forest Ranchette, precinct 1. The school bus don't run down there.
So our precinct has been changed through so many years, from precinct 3, now we are precinct 1, so the people are confusing. So because we went from one authority to another. So my question is, how can we fix that? How?
It changed, was that the 90 census or the 2020 census or the 2010 census? I think it changed in 2010. It's been changed for 15 years.
Correct. But, so, it's, another question is, it says the county cannot help us to do anything on our community. Can you explain how we've been paying taxes through so many years and we not receive any benefit?
This is your commissioner, and you really have to, you ought to call him, and he'll be glad to meet with you, and he might can help you with that. I mean, the court can't tell any commissioner what to do. They're their own bosses on which roads get worked on. But he's brand new, and he's got lots of new ideas, and I'm pretty sure he'd be tickled to hear from you and see what he can do. I can't speak for him, though.
Well, we already spoke with him, and I can understand. It wasn't on his period. But as far as right now, we're here to find out if we're gonna be able to get our road back or it's gonna stay the way it is.
What they did was, Chris, they went down and ground up. Well, who did that? Luke. They went down and ground up the main road all the way through it, turned back to there.
So that was my question.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Next, Mr. Ray McCoppin.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I got a couple things I wanted to talk about, but I'll kind of address it.
I want you to know, I went over and above, but the last time this particular item, it was like one line, with you in mind, I put all the rates and everything else I could think of. You put all the dates, so I thought you coming up here to thank you, Judge, for what a good job you did on number 9. Go ahead, Ray.
Number 9. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Anyway, I'd like to address the park first, and I agree that we need a place to recognize our lost and fallen, firemen, firefighters, and policemen. I was a sheriff's deputy for a while in my early,
endeavors.
And one of my best friends for a long time was a sheriff's deputy and police officer for a couple of different towns and stuff, small towns in Texas. And unfortunately, he passed away a while back, and the reason why he passed away is he was the law enforcement service can really get under people's skin. And he had somewhat of a mental issue, and unfortunately he passed away. He wasn't in service when he did it or anything, but I do believe that the whole thing of working as a peace officer got on his mind so bad that it upset him so bad that he took his own life. And that's very unfortunate, but that's the way it was. But he used to call me once a week. I could pretty much set my watch by the time he called me. And we talked for years and years together about our life and different things. And I tried to help him, but things just got too bad and he couldn't take it anymore. But I agree that we need to talk, have a place to represent all our fallen in the service to our country and local government. But beyond that, what I officially stood up to talk about was item number 9, and it's a hearing within the agenda of the Commissioner's Court. The part that I feel about it is I hate for this tax hearing to get lost as an item on the agenda of Commissioner's Court. I think it's more important than that. Our increases, or increase or decrease, or however you want to look at it, this year is not that significant. I don't think there's going to be too many people protesting about it.
Did you notice the part that my proposed budget is going down from 0.50 down to 4.8? Did you hear that part of it?
I heard that.
Go ahead.
I did, but I just wanted to point out the fact that it's kind of a very hidden item on the agenda, and there is
That's going up. It's been on the very back page. It's the first item, right?
Yeah, I know. That's the first item. I agree, but I just also want you to know there is a section that talks about this, and it talks about supplemental here. It's supplemental notice on top of the regular notice. And so I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but I have a printout of the front page of the county's website. And one of the things this supplemental notice says that the notice should be on the front page of the website. And I'll give you a copy of this, Judge. And it changed in 2019, they put that in there. The other thing it talks about is if there's a free access television channel, you should ask them to publish it too.
Is there one? Do we have such a thing?
I have.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Anyway, so I just wanted to point that out to you, not particularly complaining or anything, and y'all done a good job. I think the budget is pretty cut, and,
Every year, I listen to what you say. Last year.
I want to hear you repeat that. What'd you just say?
I just said, I think I've done a pretty good job. I can't complain. I'm not complaining about that. I don't want, I'm gonna say, future things to be so hidden, because in the future, it may be a different story.
Last year, you did point out a technicality about how we've done this. This is my 20 or 21st time I've prepared a budget. And what we have historically done, I never put raises in there, because my mind thought is we're gonna work through, we're gonna have countless hearings, we're gonna work through it, and then we're gonna determine what all the needs are. If there's anything left over, then we'll vote for a budget. But the problem with that, you pointed out, you were right. When I file the proposed budget, I have to send a letter out to everybody that says, this is what your salary is gonna be, and it don't have a raise. And you assume that you might be about half right about this too, that we fully intended to put raises. We just, for whatever reason, didn't. So I filed a proposed budget this morning. It got $1,000 raise in there for every single person. Now, if we go through all the hearings and we find more needs and we end up having to pull it back, gosh, we'll have another grievance issue, but I was trying to be as upfront at your suggestion as I could, and it's in there. It's already in there. And that's probably the first time I've ever filed a proposed budget that already had raises in it.
See, we're listening, right?
But I did listen, and you were right, because y'all know you're gonna put the raises in there. Why are you filing a budget without the raises in there? After looking at the certified tax values, the values, the state got on the appraisal district, and they had to really work hard the last year or so to get values up, because just one of the school districts lost value, and those of y'all that know what that means, it's traumatic to a school's budget. So they've raised everything up through the roof, and it was quite apparent that looking at those values that we can afford a raise this year. And it still dropped down 2 points.
Yes, sir.
I wish, and you can appreciate that as a former commissioner, if we could just run with the same rate, we could catch up on some things around here. We have lots of fancy new roads, and we could even afford to put some nice swing sets over in that park. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a game.
Yes, sir.
They make you raise the values up, and then they put it so high, you have to lower your values or you'd be facing a rollback.
Yeah. Well,
I'll get into the specific rates, but thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate it. Now, my disclaimer is, I'm over 65. My taxes are frozen. Every last few years, because of all the things the state has done and everything, my taxes have gone down quite considerably.
I'm just
Every time
that era, so.
Yeah.
So Ray, I really didn't understand your comment on the park. Yes. For it or against it? I never got to that.
I think there needs to be a place for,
Politician action.
a place for everybody, not only, fallen sheriff, firemen, everybody.
Mr. Dieter, I still have you on here, but I wanted to, since we're still talking about, this one's late, I can't hear this. He's not listening. You see that copy of that? I'm gonna give y'all a little history about a little bit of the report. I wish I'd have seen this.
I just got it this morning. She left it there yesterday.
I'm not gonna read every letter. Like a lot of y'all don't know. Some of you, when you spoke, talked about how this thing came about. Or they mentioned that, you know, I don't know this one, I don't know that one, but back in 2009, 2008. No, it must have been 2007, because on January 10, 2008, I wrote a letter to Emily Wisnack, 910 McAdams Van Road, Cleveland, Texas. It was right down from your precinct back then. Request for park. Dear Emily, thank you for your recent correspondence concerning the community park project. The court is in agreement that a park would be a great idea and we are considering your request. It says here, Commissioner Wells and I are working together to locate a piece of land that would be suitable for a park. Please keep in mind that developing a community park takes time and resources, and although the process is slow, we are. Well, Emily was a 10-year-old girl at the time, and I've forgotten that it was, this looked like over 100 letters from children that she solicited and got, that they presented to the court. Commissioner, were you on the court at that time? I was on the court, yes, sir. So me and him are probably the only one that's read every one of those letters, but we did see them back then. Anyway. And she came up and made a little presentation from the court, presented all these letters, and it was kind of moving, you know. So that's how it all started. And I only mention all that because I got a little bit of written correspondence from her mother, Mary Wisnack, who is she's at work. She works for JP3 out there. Then before that worked for the state in the Child Protective Services, I believe. I ask that you consider how the park idea came about. A child's dream who was 10 years old at the time. Thank you for remembering Emily. I was proud of her now and so more now. So I hate to admit it, she planted the seed 20 years ago, and we did the next round of community development block grants that came along. We applied for a park, and much to our surprise, we were awarded $250,000. She probably had her master's by the time we actually got something done. So I was true in that letter I wrote her that it takes time, but anyway, that's just a little history on how it was a 10-year-old girl that got seed planted and impressed us all enough. Yeah, it was anyway, for whatever that's.
What was the name of it then? But to get a grant, you had to have a name.
This is what
Well, we didn't actually do any formal naming that I know of, but they call it, well, these are some engineers drawing 2010 TCDP Park Project. I'm searching, I'm not sure what TCDP right at this moment stands for. The governmental entities that give you the grant money, they change about every 3 or 4 years and get new titles, and so forgive me, that's 15 years old, I don't remember what the acronym is. Commissioner Natuno is much younger than I. He might be right on. Texas Department of Agriculture or something to that effect. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anyway, and he keeps better records than I, Mr. Natuno. So did you have a picture when we accepted the grant and everything? Because I do it on my desk. The picture of the photograph of the court when they accepted the grant. I should have brought it. I don't know, I don't have. Here it is, yeah. Well, them are ours. Yeah, that was, it was front page news back on August 19, 2010. There's grant awarded to county. San Jacinto County is recipient of Texas, here we go with the numbers, initials, Texas Community Development Block Grant from the Texas Department of Rural Affairs. That's what the GLO is morphed into now. In the amount of $250, San Jacinto County will use its $250 grant to install modular playground equipment. The problem is, even back then, that didn't buy a whole lot of modular playground equipment. But we had 2 units out there and a walking path. Let me finish. Picnic tables, benches, a restroom facility, which we ran out of money before we got the restroom, but we already got people working on that right now. The parking lot, she's already done some work on getting that enhanced, and a walking trail on FM 2973 near at Cochran Road. That's on the, I don't think there's any old timers that know what they used to call the Sawmill Road. Miss Walker made, but anyway, it's over there by where the Head Start is. We've got property there. Pictured receiving the oversized ceremonial check. Well, the dollar amount wasn't oversized, but the big cardboard check was obviously oversized. Last week, our commissioners, Laddie McAnally, Ross Wells, Mark Natuno, James Moody, and County Judge Fritz Montgomery. Also pictured is Emily Wisnat, who made the request in 2007. So from the day of her presentation to the day we got funding was 3 years. To the Commissioner's Court, presented numerous letters from her classmates asking the court to consider developing a park for the young people of the county. Anyway, thank you. Who's that? Now, I think there's still DP Ward.
I know this is our decision to do on this, but I'm gonna give you what I know. Neil was the last person we lost in this scenario we're going through. Neil was my friend, dear friend to me, so I don't have a problem, and actually hope that we do name it in Neil's name. At the same time, I just want to make sure that nobody thinks in any way that these guys are any less than Neil. They made provisions in that to make sure that every person is recognized. Hopefully Neil's the last person we lose as a county employee. But I'm sure that that's probably not feasible to say that. So at some point, when we do lose another person, they'll be recognized just like everybody else that they talk about. There's no disrespect there, none whatsoever. At the same time, I thought for years that every county we go through, we see somebody's name. The bridge going on the other side of Cleveland, McLaughlin, I think they named that the Memorial Bridge for him. I can't help to put that in my thought process that I've never heard anybody come up and say, hey, let's put a bridge in somebody's name or a building in somebody's name or any of that. And I'm not putting fault on anybody, but Dee has came forward. I'll use the word Rich used, she put a little breath in this. I don't see where we can't give Neil the respect, park in his name, and I assure you, it's not gonna be just for law officers, it's gonna be for the firefighters, it's gonna be for anybody else.
You're on the committee, we've got a committee, but the committee hadn't got together and voted to do anything.
I'm just talking about in the discussions that we've had, there's stuff put together not to just honor Neil. And I think that's where I feel like maybe somebody's getting the wrong impression. They're gonna honor Neil more than anybody else. They're all gonna be honored. You know, I wouldn't have a problem with St. Louis. Donnie's loved me all my life. St. Louis is a good man, good sheriff.
St. Louis Walker.
Yes. And, I wouldn't dare disrespect St. Louis. But I just don't think we should be concentrating so much on, because when we named Neil, I get that. She's the one that's got this going. If not, none of this be happening anyway. And like I say, I don't understand why a lady brought it up, but you know, why don't we have some bridges or something named after some of these other people? They didn't come up to do that and not say that they did anything wrong by not doing it. But somebody that is coming up with a little bit of life to this, I think that we could honor that. So just my personal opinion, I don't have a problem with it being named Neil Adams, because I know every person is going to be represented up there. Thank you.
I think there's been some names mentioned, and during since '98, when I started servicing. Here's a list of the ones that came to mind, these are all people that work for the county that died or were killed while they were working for the county. Not the retired ones, like, we've had a lot of good men die after they quit. You know, Sheriff Rogers was here 25 years. Everybody loved Sheriff Rogers. But I'm just going to mention the people that worked here. Neil Adams at the top of the list. Deputy Brian Pfluger was killed right down the road here responding to a burglary in process. Deputy Denny Bo Galloway. Bo responded to a drowning call. Leroy Kyle, they were down there in flowing wells, swimming in the river, and his children. He went right on in there and tried to save Leroy and his kids, and saved one. One of the kids was actually saved. Bill Burnett he was in office when he died of cancer. District Attorney. James Lewis Walters, who was just mentioned, County Sheriff. He just got elected to his second term when cancer took him from us. Fine fellow, did a good job as sheriff. One that's really close to me, Commissioner Thomas Bonds, probably worked for the county close to 25 years. And those of y'all that knew Thomas, anytime there was ever an event or anything, and they were trying to help kids and things of that nature, Thomas Bonds put his money where his mouth was. I mean, right here in this building here, we have the Go Texan. You know, I've seen how I put my little 100 out there, Thomas put 1,000. Thomas. So anyway, Judy Eaton was an emergency manager who died while she was working here. Cancer took her. Paula Phillips Moore. I'd almost forgot it. I was probably back in close to 98, my first year. She worked for Precinct 2 down there, and they were loading a piece of equipment. And I don't know, it got away from them. when you put a heavy piece of equipment on, what might have been too little of a rig, it raised the back end anyway, the thing slammed her and it was gruesome death. Her mama worked for the county for years, Sherry Dickens, in maintenance there.
Her name is Sherry Richards.
Yeah.
Been alive, been here since the 1800s.
Yeah.
Her company.
And then I didn't have on my list, but I remember, Lonnie Nichols was he chief, sheriff,
Yeah.
Shepherd Fire Department, died. So that's just the ones I could remember, people that, you know. We want to pay respect to every single one of them, and some of y'all mentioned if you called it the San Jacinto, there'd be an opportunity to recognize every single person.
I don't think that nobody here that wouldn't do that. Nobody said that here that wouldn't do that, in San Jacinto County, whatever. Everybody here would support that, everybody in this audience.
Sure. Anyway. I think I saved a bit of glass. I thought I had one here. Mr. Dieter, I laid something on top of yours. Here we go. Mr. Dieter.
I think you're trying to take the wind out of my sail. I wasn't going to address this current situation, but as I sit here and I listen to everybody, and I believe the proper name would be the Park of Heroes in some form or fashion, maybe the San Jacinto Park of Heroes. And I think it's very instrumental as to you reading the list of all of our fallen heroes. And the heroes would cover a whole vast, it wouldn't just be law enforcement, it would be fire, it would be first responders and employees. And so we'll leave that as it is. Earlier, you did take the wind out of my sails when you were giving accolades to Ray McCollum. Ray McCollum and I have really become real close. As many of you will recall, during Ray's reign as a commissioner, he was voted the best commissioner of San Jacinto County. He's been a very instrumental person for me. I've taken lots of time to study what Commissioner's Court should do and shouldn't do. And one of the things that really hurts me is the disclosure factor. I believe that as all of you are issued monthly reports, that us taxpayers should be entitled to everything that you get. It should be disclosed to us taxpayers. You do have a website, such as it is, and there's been suggestions on how to streamline your website and make it more attractive and accessible. But I believe in full disclosure, and one of the things, when I was handed a copy of today's agenda, there's a number of things that involve expenses. Those expenses are not disclosed on this agenda. In times past, when there's been purchases made, the monies have been on the agenda. And I say this respectfully to you, Luke. One of them is your proposal for a tractor. And then
Listen, he had, when I get things presented to me to put on the agenda, sometimes if the wording is, I sometimes tweak the wording a little bit. He may have had some more explanation in some of his, and I trimmed it down. Sometimes he'll say, well, we want to sell the tractor or get rid of the whatever. And instead of putting get rid of on there, I put declare surplus. A lot of those extra comments are not necessary to express what we're doing. That gives him a chance to have something to say when he's trying to sell us something. So I don't remember taking out any figures, but just telling you.
Well, in times past, I have seen figures, and so I miss those figures. And I miss the fact that when you pay your bills, for instance, I think we should be entitled as taxpayers as knowing what bills and how our money is being spent. Another little loophole I understand is your there's ways for you to alternate things having to do with amendments. I think that we taxpayers should be entitled to full disclosure. And we're having that problem right now with the ESD. ESD,
we do a budget, you're sitting up there and you can hear us do a budget, you're more than welcome to go over and they'll give you a copy of the budget. Budget amendments are necessary. A budget's just a plan on how we're gonna spend the tax money during the year. Sometimes they might run over on gasoline, or they'll have to take some out of gravel to make up the difference. Now that's what you're supposed to do. I have, in 20 years, I've seen it, in my mind, maybe abused a time or two. Put $500,000 in road material, and at the end of the year, you take some out and buy you a new tractor. I say, you're gonna buy a new tractor, you ought to say, I'm buying a new tractor. So I think that's where you're going, and that might not be where you're going, so.
All I'm saying is that I would like to see more disclosure of finances. I would like to know, and not only me, but the new people that are moving into our wonderful Point community, and then coming from the areas that they come from, perhaps their commissioner's court and their website give full disclosure. I understand Polk County, for instance, if you look at their website, there's very few questions that you would have by looking at their website as to how they're going to run. And I've been harping on this for a number of years.
Invoices and things like that, or I understand what the budget, I'm not sure exactly what you propose us.
Well, you want to suspend expenditure of everything that I do, is that what you want? No, as far as me, my precinct, is that what you want?
I laid mine on the desk.
Well, I'm talking about, I'm not individually, I'm talking about when you're given a packet each month. That packet has things that you consider. Like at the end of this meeting, you're going to consider all of these things. And when the bills are being paid, you all know what those bills are and the purpose of them. We don't. I think we're entitled to know those things as taxpayers.
Well, we got about 29,000 taxpayers. If every single one of them wanted what you want, we'd have to hire 50 more people just to send packets out there to citizens.
All you got to do is have an account of it and post it.
Peter, I think a big part of that is just that we don't have the amount of resources some of the bigger counties have for posting and going online and inputting everything for the agenda.
Is there such a report that's, how many pages would be such a report? You're talking about the auditor's report, well, It's that sick. Rock field.
My office is.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard. Get them the packet.
This is what he's talking about.
Whatever what I get from the county, and I know it's inconvenient, but I would say my door's open, but I don't have doors in my house. So you're more than, y'all, anybody that comes there is more than welcome to it. They look on my computer anytime, I don't care.
People come in my office and look at the whole budget, my door's open as well.
Okay.
As far as the budget, it's a copy in the clerk's office. We posted it online, the actual budget, it's on. It's being uploaded, the proposed budget's being uploaded as we speak.
Well,
Because I just filed it about 30 minutes ago.
how about the audience? Do you agree with me, y'all?
Mr. Dieter?
I don't see why they can't put a expenditure, a transparent budget as a printout on the website.
Well, if you want to speak, come up here and sign a form, and you can talk to them. There's a form up there, write your name down and sign it, and hand it to us.
All I was saying is that I'm agreeing with what he said about the transparency of where the money goes.
But you're out of order, I gotta maintain order.
Thank you. So fill this out first.
Well, if you want to get up there and talk for 3 minutes, yes, ma'am. Not that I'm picking on you, but if I just let you go wild, we'd be.
I understand it's protocol.
Yes, ma'am. Protocol, there you go. Put that in my inventory.
Okay, as an,
Johnny Helen Ray Jones. Go ahead, man.
okay, I was saying, as the transparency of how the money is being spent actually, they can, I would think, based on what Mr. Dietz was talking about, that we could easily input that, whoever puts in, the information or the data for the website, put that on the website, whoever's interested in reviewing that, just click on it, and it wouldn't be a whole lot of, on-hand work. It's just a matter of the person that puts in the data to the computer, and any one of us can click on it and see where the money was spent for that month. And I think that's the honest way of having transparency, and it's not a lot of work involved.
Item number 5, announcement possible discussion of items of public and community interest for which no action will be taken.
I think this is, I think where the other people want to talk about the road, maybe, I don't know if they understand.
They're gonna bury Betty Wilson today. Randy Wilson, Jimmy Carl's, Patty. When is it today? 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock, where is it at? In Center Hill. Center Hill. When I was in school, Miss Wilson worked in the cafeteria back when you wanted to go eat at the school. Beans and rice and the cornbread was better now. Anything else about Under number 5? If not, we'll move on. Item number 9, public hearing. Consideration, discussion, and possible vote. Now, the current rate is .5077. To lower the current tax rate of .5077 by setting a proposed rate for fiscal year 2025-2026 of 0.48291, which is equivalent to the voter approval rate, and publish notice of public hearing on the proposed rate for August 27, 2025 at 9 a.m. And then I added this in here, a hearing to adopt the budget and approve tax rate on September 2nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. Now, we passed the budget calendar probably in November or something, and we didn't. Anyway, this is earlier in the year than we did last year, but it says, I just received the tax rate calculations from Ms. Davis, the tax collector, a few days ago. Ms. Margie and her team has been working feverishly putting all that into the computer. And, anyway, we've been working on the budget, so this morning I filed a proposed budget, probably about 8:30. Now, according to the rules, we had set a goal of filing it, we would have been okay waiting up until the 15th, but it says complete proposed budget, and we were complete, so I said, well, let's just go ahead and file it now. That'll give all our constituents more time to look it over, sooner the better. According to the tax rate calculations, put my hands on them. Oh, I got too much stuff. Like I said, the tax rate is 0.5077. That's for this current year that we're in. Now, once the tax collector receives the values, it puts all that into the computer and runs out. It's a worksheet about 10 pages long they go through. And then it determines, what is that? They used to call it the rollback rate. Now they call it the voter approval rate. According to Ms. Davis's calculations, that rate is 0.48291. And that is, it's not coincidentally, it is the same rate that we're proposing to adopt. If I went 1/10,000th of a percentage over that rate, the public would be entitled to demand a rollback on our tax rate. So we never go over that. In 21 budgets, I've never went over the rollback rate. Miss Betty, do you have instead of me looking for the no new revenue rate, can you tell me what that is? Probably quicker than I can dig it out of.
.46324.
I'm sorry.
.46324.
Thank you so much. Now, when you add those new values and I'm disclosing to you what the rate would have to be lowered down to if we wanted to end up with the same amount of tax revenue as we had last year, and that is .46324. That's just a huge statement on how much values have went up in the county just this year. The legislature years ago has set caps on spending and tax rates and so forth. Now, it's my understanding that the cap for the county government, the general fund is 80 cents, 0.80. The road and bridge, that cap is 0.15. Well, right now, we're proposing for general fund, a proposed rate of 0.48291. If I'm not mistaken, that's right at, well, that's 30. That's 0.32 under the cap. Road Bridge's cap is 0.15, and right now they're at about 0.13. They're near their cap.
1.2. We're at 1.2.
Maybe you're at 1.2.
Maybe 1.5.
Well, we can talk about that in a minute. The general fund, their cap's 0.80, and we're going down to we're 32 points away. I don't understand why y'all think you ought to go up to the very max, and the only way you're gonna go up anymore is cut our rate even more. Push us down the ladder while you climb up and get all the money you can. I don't follow that reasoning, but anyway. I'm not sure why the legislature has.
I don't agree with general fund having such a big fund balance either, but I never drop that every year.
Probably don't gripe when every time y'all have those FEMA claims, that's where the money comes from until you get the
I
reimbursement.
just made a comment, you make one, it's all right, you make one.
Okay, and now we're getting finished with this 0.408, which is the equivalent to the voter approval rate, published notice of the public hearing. I think I did. I'm gonna make sure public gets this. Published, proposed hearing, August 27, 2025. I've read this already, but I want to make sure you hear it more than once. And we've said we're going to have the actual budget approval on September 2nd. The reason, so, in some years, we have our ducks in a row a little better. And when we have this meeting where we declare what our intended rate is going to be to discuss, last week, we're kind of assuming that it's going to get voted on today, and we'd had it already sent to the newspaper, and it should come out in tomorrow's paper. Well, we weren't acting presumptuously this year. It's going to be, if it's whatever rate we do set on today, we're going to run it in the paper, and that'll be next week, August 14th. Now, and this budget hearing that we're going to have, it has to be, the budget has to be available for public inspection at least 15 days prior to the public hearing date. I think I said the proposed public hearing date is the 27th. The soonest you could conceivably do it is the 21st. That's according to one dictate in the rules. Now, you also have to have it filed for at least no less than 10 days after it goes in the paper. Well, it ain't going in the paper till next to the 14th, so that pushes us past the 24th of August. 24th of August is a Sunday. We're not coming up here on Sunday. And I think Mondays is a terrible day, so that's how I came up with, the 27th is a Wednesday, I believe. And one of my senior commissioners suggested, why not do it on the same day, and then we don't have to come up here. That's a great idea. I don't know why we haven't been doing it like that. So instead of having back-to-back meetings 2 different days, that takes away them out there fixing your roads and culverts and everything else they got going on. So that's one reason this is on here today, not a whole separate meeting. We're not trying to trick anybody. We're just trying to conserve our time. They've only got so much time, and if there's less, if we can get more accomplished on the same day, I think that's being efficient. So, it's going in the paper on the 14th, it's being put up on the website right now, the proposed budget. Somebody's working on, who exactly sends that ad to the paper? Miss Davis is on that, I promise you she's on. Oh, yes. So, you wanna send it, and you probably, when I first started doing this, you can send, the newspaper comes out on Thursday, Martha Shari will let you send stuff to her Monday. It ain't the same, it's new people running it now, you gotta send stuff a whole week ahead of time, and hope it gets in there. So, to all elected officials in here, she's supposed to be sending you the letter that states.
I received mine this morning.
Okay, I told her to send it, first thing this morning, and it doesn't propose $1,000 raise. Well, it got sent, so, if you didn't get it, let me know, I'll resend it. This needs to be said. Regardless of what, Commissioner, regardless of what's said today about the rate, I think we all agree we don't want to go over the rollback rate. How much arm wrestling goes on about
That's right.
whether you call it something out? We got time to do that.
Down to it.
As long as all the totals do not go over, we will be forbidden from going over .48.
That's right. I agree.
I don't know what else I can say.
I need a motion.
So I know you're looking for a motion, but I would like to talk about it right now, the division of that rate. And I know it's gonna upset you, because you work very hard and the archers work very hard on the general fund budget.
Well, I got my plug in.
But I would propose that we take 1% from the general fund rate and add it to the road and bridge. That would be my recommendation. That's only $127,000 divided by 4 in its perspective.
I like your math better, because I was trying to do it in my head, and I came up with like 350.
We're not trying to curb the going anywhere.
You appreciate how, that don't sound like a whole lot, but 12 million, but $300,000 to go find it, I'll be looking at, well, where am I gonna look?
What I'm looking at, the general fund increased by $670,000, and the road and bridges only increased by $40,000 combined. So that's $10,000 apiece. We can't do more and only get $10,000.
You looked at my proposed budget though, before you want to dissect it?
I have heard that you took everybody's fund balance and put it in their budget. Yes, I have.
I didn't put the whole fund balance. Y'all always put fund balance. I didn't pull no tricks. I put enough fund balance in there to make sure that you have not a deficit budget.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Every single department, which is for road and bridge and general fund, is taking out of the proposed budget, money out of their fund balance to do whatever they're doing. But 3 of y'all we got healthy fund balances right now. I don't think we should just keep piling to see, we need to spend some of it, so that's, but we've always done that, y'all have always put fund balance in there.
We can just give it to one and ain't got nothing, Harley.
With the exception of Commissioner Mars. Commissioner Mars don't have much of a fund balance. We put, the proposed budget proposes to put his entire fund balance, because he's only got 148,000, and he's got, and let me point out a few more things that's in the proposed budget. Tax office, when Mr. Arambo got in our ear up here that day, expressed the need we need somebody over here so we can pay taxes in Shepherd. That was well received by the court. I got the impression what I perceived as a consensus that we were gonna put a person in there. So my proposed budget has a new position in Ms. Davis, his office, tax office.
Well, I'd like to see her, you know, I don't know.
You're gonna make me forget, I'm
Well, I like to see, it ain't just my office. I like to see it go to Mark, every Russ needs, you know.
That's
a
fine.
day a week, I don't care.
But,
Just a day a week.
Mr. Morris, can I finish what I'm saying, or I'll forget the whole spiel? There's Miss Davis, Miss Adams has a part-time.
Ms. Bailey.
You forever gonna be Miss Adams, but yeah, Miss Bailey, Dee, I didn't wanna address you proper, but
Dee Dee's fine, I'm not offended.
the county treasurer, Miss Dee, she has an employee that works a lot of part-time, she's sharp as a tack. I'd hate to see her get lost because, she's a valuable employee. I put in there to convert that employee up to full-time. The elections division has a similar situation. Part-time works all kind of hours, and that one's bumped up to full-time. Sheriff's office in animal control had requested, the sheriff's wife works an inordinate amount of time running the animal control, and he had expressed a desire to take out the officer animal control and put in, at a much less salary, 2 positions. One a field position and the other one that stays there in the office position. I put that in there as they had requested. That's pretty much it as far as changes in the amount of employees, as far as I remember. The senior citizens had expressed concern over DETCOG has cut the amount of their funding for the Meals on Wheels or the
state has cut the funding.
Well, it comes through DETCOG. In their eyes, DETCOG cut it, but the state cut the funding to he's the president of DETCOG. So I get, anyway, funding has been cut. So we put more money in that line. The Historical Commission had made a request for some one-time addition to their budget, but the court, that was brought up last budget hearing, the court resolved that by identifying funds within their own budget that they can do what they want to do right now. And I hope we're working on processing that so they get whatever that was. So they want to start scanning a lot of historical documents and things of that nature. And so I didn't have to put that in there. Child Protective Services, there's 2 lines in there that we give about 5,000 to. But one of them, Safe Harbor, has not requested any money in 3 years. But we put a little bump in Child Protective Services. That's the group that Miss Nettles and those ladies are always working to try to make life a little easier for children that are in abusive situations, and Child Protective gets involved. And so it's not a huge bump, but let's see.
Engine healthcare part-time.
Engine Healthcare part-time has a little bit of a bump, more hours because he's working. I think he's making $10 an hour, which is a lot of them. Anyway.
So Judge, I know sometimes you just keep talking, waiting for somebody to make a motion, and I'm ready to do that, but I do want.
There's 1 or 2 more things that I ain't mentioned yet. Last year, we spent the last of the ARPA money on buying future. And I put some money in $100,000 there, because the building has got to be rehabbed before we can put anybody in it, whether it's sheriff deputies or whoever. So that's in my proposed budget. You're right, we got bigger fund balances now, all of us, than we've ever had. And that's in there. I think I've hit the high spots. Anyway, go ahead, sir. I'll yield the microphone.
So I'm ready to make this motion and do this, but I do want the court to know in the audience that I am going to propose to take 1% from the general fund and give the road and bridge. Because that's the disparity that I see. I mean, I'm getting $10,000 more than I received last year, and the raises that we're given are going to take up that, so I won't do any more work. So I'm trying to get some more product on the street, if you will, by having more money.
You're assuming that I'm against that. You probably ought to come talk to me.
I want that.
I need to come by and drink that cold beer that you talk about. Talk about some of this stuff.
So I just want to make that clear. I'm okay with this rate that we're going to set the 0.48291, which is the rollback rate. And I'm okay, but we do plan on taking that and putting it in road and bridge. Or I do. I don't know about the rest of the court.
And you're just gonna leave that 700,000 or 800,000? I left 700 or 800 in your budget. So you're not wanting to use that, you want to take more from the general fund?
I haven't seen the budget yet, you just filed it this morning. So
You haven't seen?
I haven't seen what you proposed.
You got the ex-auditor in your office working for you full time, and whenever she types a keystroke down, we get a text saying, oh, you changed that. So you're seeing it. Don't act like you ain't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but I second that.
All right.
So, I'm gonna make a motion for calendar year 2025-26 to set the tax rate at 0.48291, which is equivalent to the voter approval rate or no new tax.
And it set the dates for the
And
meeting.
publish notice to publish a hearing on the proposed date for August the 27th, 2025 at 9, it will be here, it's in the shelter. And a hearing to adopt the budget and approve the tax rate. Again, I don't know why we approve the tax rate again, but.
Now, this is the proposed rate. So we have, at the public hearing, we can let people present evidence or whatever they want to do or comment on what the rate ought to be.
To adopt the budget and approve the tax rate on September the 2nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. That will be here also.
In the past, we set that final hearing, but I said, why not go ahead and get it out there? Because the statute requires us, once we get the thing in motion, to act. Like when we have that public hearing, you have to act on the budget within 7 days. You can't have the public hearing and, let's just put it off for a month so they'll forget about it and we'll slip in here and do it. I'm following the statute. Now, I know that's what y'all want to do. I have a motion by Commissioner Natuno hold on. I have a motion by Commissioner Natuno to set a proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2025-26 of 0.4829, which is equivalent to the voter approval rate, also known as the rollback rate, and publish notice of public hearing on proposed rate for the hearing on August 27, 2025 at 9 a.m. and set a hearing to approve the budget and approve the tax rate on September 2nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. Did I state that correctly?
Correct, yes, sir.
What rate did you say?
0.4829.
One.
Yes.
Two,
Yeah, I wrote over the one. 48291.
okay.
I circled it so I'd see it, and my circle covered up the one. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
You have a second.
I have a second by Commissioner Dominic. Any further discussion? So, a public hearing, and, you know, I may have 40 people that should stand up and say, I think you ought to drop that road and bridge rate down to about 11, and, or they might go otherwise. I'm not completely against going up to 0.15, because that's your cap. Then I wouldn't have to endure this. And, oh, you're right. Once again, I would never have to hear about it again, unless you get the legislature to raise your cap.
So what you're saying, you want us to stack the courtroom and people tell us to go to 1.5?
I'm telling you, I don't need it. I'm telling you, in the big picture, I'm not that, okay, I'm just, because if we have to make up the difference, we have a fund balance that will enable us to do that. At this, it didn't get there because we were just spending money willy-nilly. We've worked 20 years very hard to get in what I consider the county's in pretty good financial position. What makes me stay up at night and get sweats, eventually values are going to stop going up. If, Lord forbid, if they were ever to start falling, we're stuck with these low rates that in 20 years, we've raised the rates. I think one time, and that's when the jail commission said, thou shalt build a new jail, $3 million, and we had to raise it one time. I don't think, because we went from 0.65 down to 0.48. And our cap is 8. So we're doing our best to try to hold the line. That's what all I'm trying to say. Does anybody else, I know I've talked this horse to death. Anybody else have any comments? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous, 5-0. Here's to the one that gives me the least grief. I didn't have time to make it here. She sent it to you all already. Next item number 10, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve renewal of interlocal agreement for GIS NG 911 alley maintenance services database maintenance for fiscal year 2026-27. Where is where'd she go? She was up here talking. Sometimes this is Trish's contract.
Yeah, it's interlocal with their cause to supply GIS mapping for 911, and there's one right behind it for basically the same thing.
Number 11, let me read number 11 too. Consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve the renewal of interlocal agreement for NG 911 PSAP services for fiscal year 26, fiscal year 27. If you want to incorporate them in one motion.
Has there been any changes?
No, they reimburse the county like $31,000, I think, is in this contract, that got good. So that,
yeah, we violate, I think it's she repairs.
No wording or agreements have been changed, it's the same one. Okay. I need to know.
I'll make the motion on 10 on 11.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tuno on 10 and 11. I have a motion by Commissioner Tuno on 10 and 11.
I got a second.
Second by Commissioner Sweeney. Any other discussion on these? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, unanimous, 5-0. Let me to increase my budget for road tabbies, but you don't have a tab. You got one that's already tabby? What's your part?
That's why she gets the big one.
That's good. So, Lonnie signs these instead of you, I thought you.
The executive director does, yes. Yes, no, I can't.
Hey, what about CC's asphalt?
Six.
Yeah, I had 2 invoices.
Yes,
Miranda?
That's it, right there. Yeah. That's it.
thank you. That's 10 and 11. Item number 12, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve the resolution of the San Jacinto County birthday, August 13th, 2025.
I'll make the motion for that, and that's Reverend Cochran's birthday.
Is it?
Happy birthday, Earl.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tuna.
I'll second.
That's your number, that, Dave.
Second by Commissioner Dolly. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, unanimous, 5-0.
Oh, there you go, some reason, remember it. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
Resolution of San Jacinto County 155th birthday. Whereas the 12th Texas Legislature met from February 8th, too many zeros there, 1870 to December 2nd, 1871. Whereas legislative members eligible to take the qualifying oath were required to convene February 8th, 1870 to ratify the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution and to elect 2 U.S. senators in order for Texas to be remitted to the Union. And whereas Senate Bill number 246 entitled an act creating the county of San Jacinto and naming the county thereof was passed by the 12th legislature. And whereas the county was named in honor of the Battle of San Jacinto, which secured Texas its independence. And whereas Texas recognizes August 13, 1870 as the creation of San Jacinto County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that San Jacinto County Judge and the Commissioners Court do hereby ask and encourage our citizens to join us in this 155th birthday of San Jacinto County. In witness whereof I set my hand and the great seal of San Jacinto County on this, the 6th day of August, 2025.
Yeah.
You gotta put one of them gold seals on that.
Yep.
We're having open enrollment for annual insurance, and I guess that's what's going on over there. Okay, I'll move to the next item. Number 13, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve road and bridge refund. Ms. Davis. So while we're out of the way, Chief, I also put in the proposed budget. In years past, I do not know exactly why there had become a situation where your salary was less than the jail captain's salary. I fixed that. I'm proposing in the proposed budget. Y'all are now at least at equal pay, and you're not getting paid less than one of your employees. So, Ms. Davis, is there anything you got to say about this, or it's just a standard?
I'll make the motion.
Just a standard.
Thank you so much. I have a motion by Commissioner Catino, second by Commissioner Morris. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous. 5-0. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, how you doing today? On the 13th question, trying to find out more money with Jones. Okay.
I'm sorry?
The name Willie Jones, that was supposed to say name first. The name Willie Jones, that transfer name first. I was trying to find out more about the trail end part. I know you said the pavement road part.
That talk to Mr. Luke after Commissioner.
No. Trails End is, this is your commissioner. It's not on the agenda, and the time for public comments over with, but when we adjourn, this young lady will probably be more than happy to visit this.
I would love to.
Okay.
Don't leave.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
If
sir.
you have to leave, I'll give you my card and we'll leave. Okay?
Ma'am?
If you have to leave before we're through, I can give you my card so we can get through.
Okay. Appreciate it very much.
Yes, sir.
No. Item number 14, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve the dates and times for early voting. Ms. Walker, do you actually remember, you weren't even born when that sawmill was running. Do you remember the sawmill? Devon sawmill?
No, there wasn't a sawmill.
That road was a dirt road when I was a kid. Now, you're a lot younger than I am.
I am a lot younger than you. You got old time, you mentioned that a while ago.
Well, you've been here all your life. Forgive me, I wasn't trying to imply that you were old.
No, I don't
I do remember when you used to have bright red hair.
Yeah, it used to be bright red. Now, as they would say, it's frosted.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see.
I do need to apologize, the packets have, the schedule for early voting is wrong in the package, and it's amended in your packet where the order is.
Okay, so the packet says early voting will be conducted each weekday at beginning October 20th, 2025, and ending October 31st, 2025. And we have this many. Monday from 8 to 5, Tuesday the 21st from 8 to 5, Wednesday the 22nd from 8 to 5, Thursday the 23rd from 8 to 5, Friday the 24th from 8 to 5, Monday the 27th from 7 to 7, Tuesday the 28th from 7 to 7, Wednesday the 29th from 7 to 7, Thursday the 30th from 7 to 7, October 31st, Friday, from 7 to 7. Let's see if there's something.
Skip the Saturday, Sunday?
That's what I was trying to say. Your packet has the one that has the weekend in it. And I turned it in prior to learning that we don't have to work the weekend.
Let's scratch the Saturday, Sunday. I make the most to approve those dates.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mattuno to approve the dates that the presiding officer just recited out loud. I have a motion by Commissioner Mattuno.
I'll second that.
Second by, thank you so much. Do we have any questions or comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Don't mean to be doing the broken record thing. Okay, so you got one of these or you want me to use another? Okay. These two papers go together. You got three of them. Okay, I'll move to the next one here. I want to make sure they get signed off.
Anyone interested in working the election? We got a technical training September 19th and 20th.
Just a
Come
second.
on the phone.
Just a second. Item number 50, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve the election day, November 4th, 2025, county polling locations. Box 1, 51 East Pine Avenue. Box 2, 10,251 State Highway 150 in Shepherd. Box 3, Evergreen, 7550 State Highway 150. Box 5, Bear Creek Volunteer Fire Department, 11,550 FM 1725. That's a Cleveland address, but it's out on 1725. Box 7, Point Blank, Precinct 4, Annex 221, Beaumont Road, Point Blank, Texas, 77364. Box 8, Oakhurst Fire, 990 US Highway 190, Oakhurst, Texas. Box 10, New Hope Baptist Church, 13,200 FM 2025.
For the record, I confirm with ESD that regardless of what their status is, we can still use Bear Creek and Oakhurst Fire Department.
You know, that's interesting you point that out because the ESD's got a push going to have everybody sign over all the title to all their fire stations.
And there's nowhere else in Bear Creek besides
And theoretically, that would mean we'd have to then kneel at the altar and ask them for permission to use that location. If it's a fire department.
Oakhurst too.
Now, some of these places have had these locations by walking around with rubber boots, collecting money, working bake sales, fish fries, barbecues. That makes the good barbecues.
But
For all these years, and I don't know that I'd be just jumping up and down to sign over everything I got.
Amen.
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
I was looking just in case.
Segued right on in there off of that. She opened the door.
Just to see where we can actually hold it.
These are the same locations we've used at the last.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Mattuno. Thank you, sir. I was running out of things to say. I have a second by Commissioner Donovan. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous, 5-0. Number 16, consideration, discussion, wait a minute, is there something we gotta sign?
Yes.
And we'll just use mine.
That kind of makes sense, Dave, doesn't it? That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
Item number 16, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve the request for the department credit card. Credit card. So what's the minimum you're asking for? Do we have a minimum, what we normally do?
There's a minimum, I think, typically they're 2,500.
Is that what we're doing, 25? I'll make a motion for 2,500. I have a motion by Commissioner Duno, $2,500, second by Commissioner Mars. Any questions, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous. 5-0. Thank you so much.
Next time.
Look who's waiting on that, see her hand?
Tell Chris to sign in blue.
Then I'm special.
There's a blue pen.
I'm special.
Still one from somebody else, so I got it.
Item number 17, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to advertise for the San Jacinto County 2025-2026 annual material contract and services bids for the following: aggregate rock, road repair mix, hot and cold, pre-mix, road materials, asphalt, ungraded post oak or iron ore, mined and unmined caliche, culverts, gasoline, diesel, lubricants, laydown work, lime or fly ash, stabilized base, stabilized sand, stabilization of roadway, cement, hauling and delivery of materials, freight rate by miles, road-to-mill, also called wrapped road material, installation of culverts. We got into that when you had to put in some 10-foot ones when Burrow come through there and that flood, because y'all always installed your own. Right. That was a whole, what, 100-foot long culvert or something like that? 280-foot. Yeah.
You got it on the back.
Not a 10-foot one, it ain't as easy as you think. Crushed, recycled concrete. You mentioned that, so one of your predecessors, I'm not gonna name him, on the road in Cold Spring Terrace, blown out, it comes so much rain, it blew out. And they were gonna replace, well, they actually replaced the bridge that was there. They had called, they got a bid, they got 2 of the biggest lifts you ever saw in your life. That was the proposal. Anyway, they got the culverts on it. I believe the story goes, Greg Schrader showed up with a track hoe or a backhoe. He said, look here, boys. And they rolled them in there and they set them and saved about 10 grand. Anyway. The little footnote that I remember, that's just locked into my head. So,
No offense, it wasn't him, some engineer told him they had to have 2 lift cranes, and he's been putting them in himself for years.
Yeah, we tried them
Now, the
out.
only problem I had with the engineers design, I don't think we got no more anywhere else. The initial plan set them on top of each other. Now, I don't know if there's any dirt hands in here, but you don't set culverts on top of each other. Anyway, enough of that. I'm sorry, I left out a couple of items. Installation of concrete culverts, crushed, recycled concrete, mulching and tree removal. Now, did I say chip and seal? No. No. All right. Well, they're kind of scattered, and now that's everything that's in the agenda item.
I like that motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Lars.
I'll second.
I have a second by Commissioner Dominic to approve advertising for bids for all of those items that I just read out.
Judge, how's that go? I mean, advertising, is it emails and paper and how's that?
We run it in the paper, we have a big packet, and we have.
Send it to all the vendors that we've already been using, so they'll know it's time to bid. And all them guys if y'all know anybody that might have good prices on that stuff and you want to send them to them, by all means, get that information to Ms.
Social
Hardy.
media? Send it to Brandy so she can get it on the list, so we have an accurate list, and she can send it out, so we can track it when it comes.
I'm thinking that this is your first rodeo.
And I'm a social media person, so I want everybody to have an opportunity to bid, so.
Everybody.
This is the one that we're talking, so you have to give it to me.
If you have anybody, Commissioner, you need to get it to us so we can get it on the list and get it out.
Not only unless you're absolutely not going to, I'm finding myself very thirsty. Sir? It wouldn't hurt my feelings, I keep drinking this water. Wait a minute, was there any other comments on this? Did you have any questions, more questions? That's a good question, because they've done for 15, 20 years, but you're right, that is how it goes. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous 5-0. We're gonna take a few minute break, to do whatever, take a breath, go to the bathroom, whatever. Subdivision rules and regulations. Last update, 2023. And when you requested this, you had 3 or 4 other things, which were specific rules that you wanted to consider changing. And I called, and I don't know if I talked to you after the fact. But I said, why don't we not change any more rules? If we're gonna appoint a committee, let's appoint a committee and let them think about it before we start. Why change all the things that need fixing if we want a committee?
And I agree with that. I just was getting a little greedy because I wanted it right now. But I am wanting to, we previously discussed getting a committee for just to update some things that I'm coming across that are having a few issues.
And so I said, we need to talk about that part a little bit more. So I said, those did not appear on here. And we were trying to figure, all this stuff about the budget calculations and trying to organize these dates. And it gets kind of, it's a lot of tension there trying to figure that out. And if you get into this pressure situation, we just got the numbers last week. And anyway, so
the subdivision committee that I would like to appoint would be Blake Markwood, Blake Granger, Tricia, who does permitting.
Who?
Tricia Fishtown that does permitting, because she's involved in that as well. Blake's dealing with it, Mark's dealing with it, and Angie Sanchez offered if they want some of her input, she's offered also.
Okay, so you mentioned Blake. Blake is we employ him as a engineer on all these jobs. To have him on the committee that sets policy and being a paid contractor, that seems like a tremendous conflict. Plus, if we put him on the committee, we have to pay him engineer hours to be on the committee. I don't think that's a good idea. He's a great guy, but.
He offered to do it without charging.
Did you mention Mark Woods? Cause
That's who the mark was, it wasn't me.
Oh. Sorry,
everybody don't need to be an engineer.
I got you.
I'm just telling you that.
Well, Blake offered to help, without any charge because he lives in precinct 3 and he also will benefit for things to be done correctly in our precinct.
Thank you. He may conflict himself out of doing any more work for us if he does that. It's not a good idea to put us in a conflict situation.
I mentioned to you Ernest Bales, and he's
He
out
also
there doing.
got development in our precinct.
Well, I mean, he lives here, and he's got working knowledge of all his subdivisions, because that's what he's been doing now for a little bit, but he was nothing but it. I talked to him, and he said he'd be willing to. But again, if you're looking at conflicts, I don't know if he does or not. I mean, he's just making recommendations.
You don't have I wasn't writing as fast as you were talking.
Blake, Mark, Wood, Tricia Dashman.
Can I make a motion?
Who is that? That's only 3 hours. Mark, Wood, Blake, Tricia, and who else?
That's fine.
it? I mean, that's all 3? There's 3
That's
hours.
fine with me. I mean, they're all very experienced.
Let me reiterate, I think if you create a big conflict, if you put him, he's on most all of our, he don't need to be part of the program, helping make the rules if he's contracting with us to do this subdivision.
We got Mark on this.
And roads and things.
The reason I'm asking for him is he is our outside engineer that I'm consulting
Did you
with.
say
And he
Ernest
knows,
Bales was interested?
but he's got development
So
coming all over.
are you gonna be on there?
I would like to, yeah.
All right, so put your name down.
Yeah, put your name down.
Okay.
Somebody needs to go there from the court to understand the hardships that we are having.
Yes.
With the current.
Yeah. Okay, so me, Mark Wood, Blake.
Well, if we got a problem with Blake, why don't you change it up with,
Ernest Bales?
Because Ernest has got a lot of development coming in our precinct.
He may see some things, I mean, I could ask that you.
All the people with your head picks, we're asking to put Ernest Bales on there.
And he's in other counties, and he's doing other work outside, so he's bringing in, and I would like those two. I'd like to see more of them.
I mean, it's your motion, you do whatever, he's trying to give us some advice about one.
So you got 4, yourself, Tricia, Mark, and we're arguing over Ernest Bales and Blake.
Put them both on there, I don't care.
Well, that ain't eliminate the conflict that you're putting on there, that's all.
Judge, can I speak to that a little bit?
No, sir.
Okay.
Tricia.
You're representing the court. Mark Woods representing the engineers of the world. Tricia represents the permitting perspective. Ernest Bales is a private citizen developer. He represents their perspective.
I like Ernest and I have no problem with Ernest being there. I'm just saying, if there's a conflict with Blake, then there's a conflict with Ernest.
No, I understand it's paid by us to do anything.
Neither is he on the committee, and he lives in our precinct.
He works for us. He's a contractor, he makes hundreds of $1,000s, and he's gonna be able to make recommendations about what the policies are.
Okay, I make a motion that I, Tricia, Mark Wood, and Ernest Bells are on there.
Now, Ernest's a busy guy, you have talked to him, and he's not putting him on something that he don't.
I know him well, and I think he would be glad to.
Since he's a little boy, but he's a busy fellow.
I talked to him in church Sunday.
And listen, whatever the committee comes up with, they don't get to approve it, they still gotta bring it to us and we agree to the recommendations.
I make a motion.
Second. I have a motion by Commissioner Donnelly, for Ernest Bales, Tricia Basham, Mark Woods, and herself, Crystal Donnelly, on the subdivision rules committee. I need to write it down again. Steve Bales, Steve Donnelly, Mark Woods, Tricia. I have a motion by Crystal. Did I hear a second?
Mark.
Commissioner Natuno? Commissioner Natuno has made a second. Any other questions? I think we got a very well-rounded group there. That committee ought to come up with some great recommendations. Any other comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, unanimous, 5-0. Item number 19, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve the agreement of San Jacinto County Precinct 3 and the United States Department of Interior to install a stream gauge monitoring station on the Tony Tap Bridge at no cost to the county.
I'll make that motion. It's kind of the same that you had already, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Got a motion by Commissioner Mars, a second by Commissioner Sweeney. So, who is bearing the cost if we're not bearing the cost?
Harris County is bearing the cost.
Harris County.
It's to kind of give a heads up to Harris County,
I know the other ones that were, I think, funded through San Jacinto County River, San Jacinto River Authority, if I'm not mistaken.
This is funded by Harris County Flood Control.
Great.
And then the U.S. Department of Interior.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous, 5-0.
No cost to us. Did we say that?
No cost to us. Item number 20, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve amended/updated routing road use agreement and routing road use agreement addenda.
Do we need to table that? Yeah. Well, I need to table that, the information we need.
Got a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second. So, just a little, the other day, somebody was asking me some questions about how do you do this and how do you do that? So TAC has a publication that talks about parliamentary procedure and how you put things on the agenda and all kinds of stuff. So I read that. And when you, I picked up on that, when you filed, when we're arguing like crazy and somebody makes a motion to table, we're supposed to stop arguing, vote on the motion to table. If it's tabled, then everybody needs to close their mouth and go on to the next one. Now, I didn't realize that because I didn't.
Keep arguing, didn't you?
Keep arguing, yeah, and I'm glad.
Teach you something is right.
So all y'all can learn new tricks?
Well, that's one thing that I picked up on. Putting things on the agenda.
We're learning.
Putting things on the agenda, the court or the commission have, that's who, in other words, if commissioner says I want to put this on the agenda, then I'm obligated to put it on there. If Joe Blow says I want to put something on there, unless they get the commissioner or myself to sign off on it. That's, I don't want to say we've been a little bit lax, but I mean, and sometimes people will come in, if it's a no-brainer, and they haven't filled out the form, I'll put it on the agenda, hey, y'all think we ought to give turkeys away at Thanksgiving? Yeah, of course we do, let's put that on the
Judge, when I was reading part of that too, is that you're kind of you ain't feel, a lot of judges are the ones that put it on there. They have other people, like, I don't know if it'd be Tracy or somebody else.
That's the way that's my administration does. I can't say, well, Tracy did this wrong. I'm not looking at that. If I mess up, I'll warn you. If I mess up, I make my share of it.
I personally am grateful for you taking on this.
Well, anyway.
We got a table, seconded.
Is there, okay, so, yeah, so you made a motion to table.
Seconded.
Let me write this down and state what's happening for the record. Commissioner Sweeney motion moved to table. Commissioner Natuno second that. Is that correct? Sure. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. It's unanimous. This is tabled. Y'all let me know when you want it back on. 5-0, approved, motion to table. Item number 21, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve, possible vote to. It does repeat itself. I try to put whatever you have on there. Anyway, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve purchase, possible vote to approve purchase of new Kubota cab tractor through Sourcewell and it should say is a state-approved purchasing cooperative. I know that we reworded this. I wanted to make sure it's stated in this agenda item that this was a state-approved purchasing cooperative. So Sourcewell is kind of like buy boards. The reason I mention this, ladies and gentlemen, if we're buying something that's over 50,000, I presume the last one I bought was over 50. This one's not.
I got it underneath, but I went ahead and it's 46 now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Good. Well, good job. Anyway, if we buy something that's over 50,000, we have to go out for bids. But if it's on a state-approved purchasing co-op, the state basically has already went out and got bids, and they list that on there, and you can go online to Buyboard or Sourcewell or HGAG, there's several of them out there. And you can buy it off of that. You still have to bring it to court to approve it, but you don't have to go out for bids.
And Sourcewell was a little quicker. They could take your inventory right off.
I never looked on Sourcewell.
So real quick, tell us how you're gonna buy it, how you gonna buy it.
I have moved some funds. I have an addendum for the funds to pay for it. I had some interest that I could throw on there, and then out of my general, or not the general. Yeah.
You can't take it out of your fund.
Right, yeah. I put in.
Certifying some,
Unused funds.
Well, I presume there's a budget amendment somewhere that accommodates this purchase.
yes.
But
I'll make the motion.
I'll say,
Capital overlay.
Capital machine.
Go Carolina,
Who made
go in the right
I
direction.
have Mars. I have a motion by Commissioner Mars, a second by Commissioner Patino. So y'all heard a little discussion about how we're gonna pay for it. So we have what's known as a fund balance. At the end of the year, if you haven't spent everything in your budget, whatever's left over, by default, it goes into your fund balance. And then the next year when we budget, that fund balance, if you want to spend it, you have to put it there's a line that says, amount of money taken from your fund balance to put into your next year's budget, and each one of them, that's the way it works. You don't usually spend it all, but then the next year you put, well, I'm gonna take 200,000 or whatever out of your fund balance so you can help balance your budget. And that's what they do. It's you can't tell, you don't know exactly how much gas or road material you're gonna use or buy during the year. It's just an estimate.
I didn't hear a price tag.
You got 46, 588, you got extra money in your road and bridge materials, and that's usually where they have it.
Which I don't know.
And you decide at the end of the year, well, I got a little extra money, I kind of need to buy an old tractor or something.
I'll get a copy, I'll get.
What you should do, if you really want to buy a tractor, if you're planning ahead, hey, you put in capital outlay and then buy a tractor. Instead of, that's what gives Mr. Coppin and Mr. Dieter heartburn, is when you wait to the end of the year, and you ain't even talked about buying a tractor, and well, I'm gonna take a slide of the money out here and buy this tractor. If you need a tractor, you need a tractor. The public prefers, and it's a good practice to be transparent. So, got a motion, got a second, any other comments, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, unanimous 5-0, so that tax, material that I read over the last couple of days about how things are trying to, one of the things it says is be sure to make sure you're stating every detail of what we're doing, so the recorder picks it up and you preserve a good record of what you've done. I know y'all think, well, why does he keep saying it over? I just want to make sure I'm preserving the record.
I'm preserving clarity.
Fully noted.
Number 22, consideration, discussion, possible vote to declare surplus. And you had some other language in here. You didn't say declare surplus. And this is what my estimation. And if that irritates you and you don't want me doing that every once in a while, then I'll leave it there and then I'm gonna object and say, well, you didn't put it in here.
Now, have you got a cap on this one? What y'all want to sell for?
Let me finish reading that. Consideration, discussion, possible vote to declare surplus 2001 Massey Ferguson model 4243 two-wheel drive precinct 1 road and bridge unit number 1306. Serial number ending with 1215 and a 2023 case IH maximum 150 tractor road and bridge, precinct 1 road and bridge unit number 1307, serial number ending with 01976. Tractor belongs to, this second tractor belongs to precinct 1 and 3 road and bridge, to be listed for sale on Gov Deals or Renee Bates. You have a whole lot more stuff on there. That stuff you probably just got to state. You've given the whole life history of the tractor.
I did.
I got some second.
That one big tractor, that 2023, they just bought that thing. They also bought a lay down machine or something, right? Right.
Okay.
How many hours of it?
I haven't even checked it on yet. We got to put a minimum bid on there for it, so.
Before you put it up, you want to put a minimum bid.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
So what's the minimum bid?
I don't have it. Not right now.
So you want to declare it surplus now?
Yeah, I still want to put it on, and I got to get with Crystal, she owns part of that.
We want to sell it because I haven't even got.
Well, you need that before you put it up for sale, is what we're trying to say.
Oh,
Yeah, you ought to know, what the minimum bid is. We put it up for sale, they put it on the internet. It helps to know that.
What are they leasing?
When we purchased it was $74,000 each precinct coming out of pocket, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's about $150,000 tractor.
It was a lot. I used it.
I just thought before we gave it to Brandy to put on there, I'd have her minimum bid, so that would be, can I
Yeah, but you gotta do that now.
Can you make the motion, can I make the motion to do that with the minimum bid to be given to her?
No.
You gotta know what I'm gonna sell for.
The Mr. Dieters of the world wanna know and are entitled to know.
If you want $10,000 for it, you gotta put, minimum bid, you gotta put that on. You want 12, well, I could probably give you 12.
You don't have,
I don't have.
We already bought the tractor and y'all are paying for it, and if you say, well, my minimum bid is
100,000.
50,000, these guys are gonna say, we'll take it, and you don't even have to put it out there. That's what's going through my friend's head, I guarantee. I've seen a D6 dozer do the same thing between two departments when we had two new people come in. Next thing you know,
oh, no, I'm fixing.
right, wasn't me? You don't have that dozer?
It wasn't me, did it?
I didn't say you did it.
I would at least put 125 on it.
But I'm not gonna throw one out here without knowing. I do not know what that tractor's worth right today. I mean, I know what
Well,
we're
you're not
paying
gonna
for.
know.
You're not gonna know. Why don't you have, why don't you just, in my opinion, why don't you just call the dealership and ask them what they give you trade-in, what the hours on it, and just see where you, if you don't like that number, then just go.
Yeah, you could have traded. You gotta call you on Friday when I put this on here.
I know.
Ask some of them questions.
I mean, that's just something you gotta do before you can put it on for sale. You gotta have a minimum.
I got you.
I'd be willing to bet y'all hadn't even changed the oil in the tractor.
I had to.
I haven't seen the tractor except when I drove by the.
I don't know how much it was used before I heard it, but it's a brand new tractor. If anybody's looking for it. We'll come back with a,
So you want to table this one? Where we're at?
make a motion we need to take.
Wait a minute. What about the other tractor, Massey? You got two tractors on here.
Well, I have to have a minimum, it depends on who you put it on, right? If I understand Renee Bates, you don't get to put a minimum
He's
on.
telling you, he's trying to give you advice that it's really a good idea to put a minimum on it. Otherwise, you gotta sit up there and, man, it ain't brought $500. You gotta stay up. If
You gotta
that
sell
was
it.
the end at midnight, it's gonna get sold.
It's gonna get sold.
I got you. And Gov Deals, I think you have to put a minimum on there. Is that right?
You don't have to, it's a good practice.
Yes, and we're going.
If it's a piece of cheese and it ain't gonna bring nothing anyway, just put it on there.
I'm not in a hurry to get rid of these until I know the minimum on there, so I make a motion to table.
Got a motion to table this by Commissioner Sweeney.
I reluctantly second that.
Have a second by Commissioner Dominic to table.
Quiet.
Any comments on the motion to table? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, it's tabled.
Well, since I make a deal with Mr. Dominic and have him and say, I don't want to sell it, I guess you're kind of stuck with keeping it.
Oh,
But I'm by his half.
She's gonna call me and tell me to sell it.
I haven't even got to use it. I can use that.
You gotta throw me on the bus.
Yeah, I hear you.
We've been a lot longer than we have.
Well, if y'all are interested, y'all should take one another to
The
lunch.
last
and
time I
maybe
tried to
make a
go
deal.
check it out, I was a little steep.
Yeah, I don't need it.
And
I know
you
you're
were right.
smart. Didn't have no you short when they bought it, that's why me and Mark didn't get involved in it. After a statement.
You were right on mine anyway last time. You were close. You were right on mine, the sale I made before. You were close on what you thought it would bring.
Really?
Yeah, I trust you.
I'll do some of that stuff.
We'll get better down here.
It's lunchtime.
Just because you make fun of my stomach growling, I promise.
Lovely, you're gonna shoot. All right. Please.
A few more.
So we set those hearing dates, September 2nd. And I tried to call every one of you when I was picking these dates, but I was kind of handcuffed by the rules about how long you gotta do something within so many days, but you can't do it before this day. Make sure y'all wouldn't, on some cruise or something like that. one amongst us, they had to go on cruise in September. So when's the cruise, later on? This ain't conflicting with the cruise date, is it? Alright.
What do you want this week?
This week? No. That's good. I know it's a Tuesday, but Wednesday, I won't be here on that Wednesday. I ain't going on a cruise, but I got something I gotta do. I can't be here. So Commissioner Matuno suggested us make the meeting the same day. That's a brilliant idea.
We're trying to get Friday points on that, is that what you're trying to do?
No, and I stay away from Fridays. I've learned it. Fridays are terrible for y'all.
Especially this Friday.
I've had too many meetings where it wasn't, I've had quorums missed because I put it on a Friday. Well, who put it on a Friday? Okay. Well, I'm out in left field where it comes from.
See, that wasn't even me. You heard that
about Lawrence, and then I went to there, and I'm like, what? Well, that just popped into my head. I am thinking about lunch. I don't eat breakfast, and I'm diabetic, and I'm feeling a little bit peckish.
I get that right.
Just makes gas.
No banana today.
Chris will buy us all lunch, I thought.
Item number 23. Consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve the interlocal agreement between San Jacinto County. Now, you had this all jammed up into one item, and it confused me, so I made two items out of it. Anyway, with Shepherd ISD and San Jacinto County.
Man, we just, if they need some help, I just want this on the books so we can help them like we've always did in the past. So I'll make that motion.
And we had an interlocal with them for a
Yes,
long
for a long time, it didn't get redone the last couple of years.
I'll second that. I read it.
Only reason it wouldn't is nobody sent over and said, hey, put this on the agenda. And y'all been working together fine, but you're right, it don't hurt us.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Whatever work you do, you bill them at like FEMA rates? Yes, we did.
Yeah.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mars, second by Commissioner Dominique, to approve the interlocal with the Shepherd School District.
If they got any kind of material or anything, we, we don't charge, we just charge them what it costs. We do.
You don't put a 25%,
No, sir. No, sir.
What about with the city?
City same way.
Good for you. We're a team.
City same way.
I can read the other one if you want to make one motion. I separated them so I wouldn't get confused. But that's all right. Any other comments? Commissioner Mars made the motion, Commissioner Dominic made the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, unanimous 5-0. Number 20. Oh, and you got rates here, motor grader $167 per hour, dump truck $94 an hour, water truck $61 an hour, chip spreader $94 an hour, packer $68 an hour, broom, is that one of them you see the hand standing up, leaning up against, or you talking about? That's a shot. Front end loader $118 an hour, grade all 162, dozer 125, all rates 2-hour minimums, does not include operator. Truck driver $25 an hour, operator $25.50 an hour.
The last work we did for them, we helped dig a ditch between Marceline Williams' house and the railroad. And we couldn't, they won't be shot out of they said they dug it with and they gave me a jet machine, that's what I used over at the courthouse that day.
Oh, yeah.
So anytime you need a jet machine, the county, I got one.
Good deal. Item number 24, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve interlocal agreement between San Jacinto County and the San Fairgrounds. Yeah.
I put that on there because it hadn't been updated in a few years.
Fairgrounds, with the San Jacinto County Fair Board. Well, I remember when we first had that put on there, if not other things,
yes,
it was a big dumpster.
It was.
Because, somebody wanted to not put the dumpster out there, and I mean, golly, it's the county.
They were very concerned about it.
Yeah.
We decided we just have an interlocal agreement where we can help our kids, it benefits our children.
Yeah, could you imagine that, if they didn't have a dumpster out there?
And kudos to the sheriff's department for having inmates in the prior years that help pick up all the trash and all that.
So they always work.
And they always work hand in hand with the cats, so I get it, I don't think.
That's when the reserves generally get.
That's cutting in the precinct.
Make a showing out there, they call in a lot of reserves during the county fair.
We always thank them for that.
I have a motion to approve the interlocal with the fair board by Commissioner Mars, second by Commissioner Natino. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous, 5-0. Tommy Hughes still the president?
Yes, sir. There's a lot of great volunteers out there, a lot of great volunteers.
And the rates are the same for this as it was on the other, so I'm not gonna read out all the rates. They're the same, Mr. Peter.
Yes, sir.
Item number 25, consideration, discussion, and possible vote to approve the following policy changes. Section 3.21, America's Disability Act compliance, section 8.02.02, sick leave, section 16.09 and 16.15, drug and alcohol policy. Well, I think this was up here before, and a member of the committee interjected, and they wanted to get together, so y'all have an impromptu committee meeting after the meeting.
Not a member of the committee. You interjected.
I did not, she was here, what do you think she was here for?
Well,
I didn't have a meeting, y'all had an impromptu meeting afterward, I understand.
Yes.
I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but, and I guess,
I did notify the committee several times, and they don't turn my email, so I moved forward. We had open enrollment, we needed this done before that.
I don't dispute that at all. I was contacted, the lady was here,
Yeah.
so.
So on 16,
On the record, she's not here today. Go ahead.
on the drug and alcohol policy on 16.00, the changes that I'm asking to be made is on the mandatory testing part. We already test employees if they've had a wreck in a vehicle or damaged county property. I'm asking to.
I'm gonna go into executive session and let's talk about that.
Okay.
Say another word about that. What time is it?
It's 12:10.
12:10. And I'll explain.
Okay.
There's some sensitive information in some of this. It's 12:10. 12:10. We're gonna stop right in the middle of this item, and we're gonna go to executive session. Discussion item, executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code sections 551, 071, 072, 0725, 074, 076, to discuss any law, consult with attorney regarding pending or contemplated litigation or settlement offers, deliberation section 16.15 drug and alcohol policy. Ms. Bailey, give me, well, you answered it, either one.
Yes.
Okay, let me flip to. The committee is talking about this stuff and let's see. Section 16.09 and section 16.15.
1609 is what we went to executive session about.
Okay, so there's a policy change development form. Is there okay, so in the package, I'm gonna get past the form where it asks the questions, and you got what's this current policy? Post-accident, that's just an accident, not a weapons discharge.
Previously, it just talked about an accident to county property or anything like that. I don't know how far I can talk with this, so you're gonna have to leave me in order.
You're showing.
You don't know what?
How far I can talk
What
about
far is the,
No, this is yours.
you want to make the committee suggests that we make a change on 609 has something to do with requiring drug testing if there's like a car or something like that. You want, do we have something in this package that says what the new proposed language needs to be?
Yes, it's on the policy development.
Oh, that's
The policy change development form.
okay, I must just.
Each one of those policy changes has a form.
Did? That's this one? Oh, okay, I think I have what you have now. Mandatory time.
And I have highlighted the part right there, then.
Yeah, so. Okay, but right now it says post-accident. Are we gonna substitute this new language for the one that says post-accident? Because it doesn't talk about accidents, it just talks about this. Sure.
So, the mandatory testing part is the part, it stopped at, personal injury or injury to, county property.
So it says requested policy change. In other words, you want that language, you want it in addition to this, not, and not replace this.
Not replace that.
Add, okay. All right, now is there then there's 1615.
1615 discusses, if a individual gets tested in NACOT, they are.
I see what you're saying, so you want to add that language to the current policy, not replace it with that. Yeah, I'm clear on that. So is that the only two?
I have in there to, and, the Americans with Disability Act.
So when you print out the new policy, it'll have what's already there plus that new section that we're talking about. To make it include other language for other incidents.
The American Disabilities Act, I am just asking you to move it out of the drug policy part and move it to recruitment and selection of employees because it benefits that area. Not changing anything, just taking it out of the policy and moving it to where it fits.
I don't see any problem with any of this. I just didn't understand if we were
I was just adding.
taking this language and replacing it, or we're
Just
adding.
adding language to bring together. I went and looked at other counties' policies and had more time to dig into it, and they had that language in there, and I thought it would be best to put it on.
And when we were talking with Mr. Dillon, we had him on speaker, and he said he didn't see any harm in changing this policy.
Okay. So that's all I have.
From time to time, we get sued or whatever, and sometimes when you change policy, and it has to be, if it's something that might have kind of been a part of this lawsuit, it makes it look like, well, they changed their policy, and now we're gonna hang them for it. He said, you know, it is what it is, and
Yeah,
he did not recommend against passing the policy.
Yeah, I'm constantly reading other counties' policies and rules and laws and constantly updating, whether it be an incident that we had or some changes that I've seen that would fit our county better.
It wasn't a ringing endorsement, it was more of a, I'm not gonna grab it if you do, kind of thing. So he's trying to stay on that proverbial fence without quote. Anyway, do y'all understand it? I do now, but I wasn't quite clear on what. The motion would be to move the American disabilities into their own section. The section 8.02 would be the sick leave, and basically what it says.
Oh, I didn't get to go over the sick leave, I'm sorry, I skipped the sick leave.
Yeah, that was too.
Basically, it says that if you miss more than, or if you miss before and after a holiday, you have to bring in a doctor's note, is that right?
Correct.
And if you leave before you use for that, you lose your sick leave also.
That's our.
Wait a minute.
That's all right.
What, do what now?
So when we have holidays, a lot of times employees like to extend their holidays and do sick time. So what we're asking the court to change that is if you call in sick after a holiday, you have to bring a doctor's note.
Or before.
It wasn't our previous policy, I just did not add it to this one. And so I had concerns brought to me, and I'm just putting it in there for y'all's thoughts on it, whether you want to do it or not.
They got a big Thanksgiving Day plan, and they ain't seen their grandma in 40 years, and so they got a couple of, sick days they wanna burn. Why would you not allow them to do that?
I'm not saying that I wouldn't, or that it's my opinion.
You ought to show up here on Friday afternoon and walk through the courthouse and see if anybody's here. Other than me, and she'll have a girl in there, ain't nobody in there after lunch. I'm just telling you.
I don't like it either.
Betty Davis, her whole crew will be
Tax
here.
office is open.
They're open, we're working on the budget, but I'm just saying.
And again, I'm just saying, I have to put on what I'm requested to put on to bring in front of y'all.
Yes,
It's not what
I understand.
I'm good with the other two, just not that.
Well, I'm with you, I'm not so keen on, if that's what we're worried about, if they want to take one of their sick days, make it, you know, they couldn't get a flight back home, so, until the next day it was booked, or what, there's lots of things. So you ain't gonna have no doctor's excuse for that, so the end result is, you're gonna dock their pay. If they actually had sick time they could have used, I don't know.
Well, ain't that up to each boss?
I would think.
Well, that can be said on
If it makes
anything.
it policy, if it's our policy that we vote on, when we swear those, I think we're supposed to follow the policies.
Well, you get into the abuse of it. That's all. Somebody's brought the attention, let's get the.
Whether it's being abused is kind of up to the boss.
So,
You know, if your hand says, hey, man, I'm gonna add another day here, if they clear it with you, then, you know, that ought to be
That's me, that's just me.
What would be the motion was, Mark?
I was just trying to decide what needed motion.
I don't think the consensus wants to monkey with 802. I didn't realize, I'm glad you mentioned that, whoever mentioned
I
it.
got none of them off. I don't want that much advantage.
So what does the policy say? After 2 days, you have to have a note anyway, right?
Yeah, the law states that after 3 days, if you're missed for 3 consecutive days, we have to put on FMLA, and that requires a note from the doctor in order for us to do that. So,
There are people in this world that get sick and they've checked their temperature and it's 103, but they don't go to the doctor.
I agree, but I have to, in that aspect, I have to follow by the law.
Well, it doesn't apply to you and I, we're elected officials, but, you know.
I was an employee at one time, so yes, but, you know, again, on that one, the 3 days, that is required by law, that we put them out on FMLA, and the law goes into FMLA, which FMLA states that you have to have doctor's notes or whatnot. I can, at any point in time, overrule that if I know that the person is into a bad way that they can't communicate with me, or they're in the hospital, they're dealing with a lot of stuff. I can overrule that and say, I'm gonna put them out on FMLA because I know that something is bad and wrong and they can't do all the paperwork for me.
So the next thing in there is about asking to see, if the terminated, sick leave is terminated once the separation is received by the treasurer. This will prevent employees that are leaving to burn sick leave instead of the other days.
Right.
So I get what you're saying. Somebody says I'm quitting and they use up all
They
their
give you
sick
their
time.
2 weeks notice, but then they call in sick every day.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'm for that.
Well, it's just, like Chris says, it's up to the supervisor, you know, I mean, if they're a good employee, you want them to get all they get, but if they're a terrible employee, they don't want to get it.
So you lose your sick time if you quit, is that what?
Yes, we don't
We
pay.
do not pay out sick.
Pay sick time.
So because we do not pay out sick, when people
Then
get their.
you shouldn't. So you're saying, you're conceding that they might, well, I won't get paid next week, so I'm gonna use some sick time.
It's stating that they have to have a doctor's note to use that sick time.
That's probably not a bad thing.
Does the teledoctor work down, you know, with the new system, all that, you just call them and tell them, say, man, I'm looking at peeling. So you don't have to run down to the doctor's office now.
We're away, right? At 3 o'clock, you were away. That's a way.
Yes. The struggles he has.
Get right over it.
Go to Baltimore on the weekend, they're out, but it's on the weekend.
So that's when he's not at the courthouse, after.
Is there a motion in here and even, let's see. Mark, what was your motion down there?
I was just reciting what needs to be a motion. First one was to move 3.21 American Disabilities Act.
I think we want to do everything she said.
And the second thing was 8.02 we're gonna delete the change about needing a sick day a day prior to a holiday or a day after.
We're not gonna do that.
We're gonna delete that out of the change, and then we're gonna leave, change the sick leave to having a doctor's note once you're separated, use your sick time. Are you following?
Yes.
Because a lot of them already got compound too.
Yes.
And then we're also going to add in the drug and alcohol to
1609 and 1615.
1609, which is to use the hair follicle, is that right?
No, 1609 is to update more on the property damage. 1615 is the hair follicle. And it also states, just to clarify, if they disagree with it, they have to get a hair follicle test and it's at their expense, not the county. What if they're like, oh, they'll pull it from somewhere else? Sorry.
Yeah, I got those places. So I'll make that motion with the exception of the doctor's note before and after home.
Okay.
I have a motion by Commissioner Matuno.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Domney to approve the proposed changes in policy except for 8.0202 sick leave. Any other comments? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Anybody getting indigestion over the sausage squash?
Well, you should, since we're all starting. I brought you some.
Yeah.
I made him a copy of Tom's, because today was 2 weeks for the first part.
The ayes have it, unanimous 5-0.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you so much. Was there anything on there that got called in the policy meeting?
Yes, we did. We talked about having random drug testing for the entire population of the county.
And but when I looked it up,
Come back and found out it's gonna cost,
it gets long.
it'd come back and it was going, what do you mean you can't do that?
You can't do it, I found out.
Do that to elected officials.
No, we didn't sign up to do that.
I'm
This
not
court
good.
has.
You can sign up. I've never signed up for it.
You voted for it.
So when I looked into that, what they said was basically, you can drug test someone if you believe that they are intoxicated. You can do randoms for employees that drive county vehicles or that deal with any narcotics, so the evidence room, the person over that has to be done. But you cannot interfere, you have to have a warrant if you drug test any other employee.
I've never done any kind of drug in my life, but I know what the law is, and I don't care what you voted to do.
Because it's
against
considered
the law.
Can you help me on this? So when
No, I'm just asking. So if I have an employee that comes to work and I think some of the influence of drugs or alcohol,
if you think it's a reasonable suspicion, you can drug test them.
if I work,
You think, you can. I'm talking about elected officials.
No, we're not, that's not what they're talking about, right?
Employees.
So if you believe an employee is under the influence, it's called reasonable suspicion, and then you can drug test them, yes. But you cannot add normal employees to a random because they consider it invasion of privacy, and therefore you have to have a warrant. It kind of goes in the law with y'all saying, and if I'm not saying it right, help me, but that's basically what they're saying. You have
If
to
they're
warrant.
driving or using a weapon or something, but you're right.
Driving, drugs, narcotics.
Now, if the secretary comes in and you think,
And
you can.
the reason we put on the supervisor classes is because unless you've done that class and have the certs in that class, you can't call reasonable suspicion because you have not been trained. That's why we.
somebody's falling down, walling on the floor.
You better call me because I've had the training and I can request it.
So before you found all that out, that it was illegal, you did research, and it was gonna cost the county way too much money.
Way
Random,
Because I asked her.
so we cut that out.
Yeah.
So we pulled that back.
Okay.
In the trucking, they
I
have
was
like
just
a
curious.
consortium, so it's a huge piece and only a few of yours get pulled. It's like, build up in 20 counties.
I don't know, I can't just tell one of my guys to be random checks, because I think something's wrong.
Yeah, I think you can.
Because
You gotta have reasonable suspicion to do
I
that.
know, but I work a lot of Saturdays, with these, especially the sanitation people, they work Saturday. So I just wanna make sure I have to call y'all to make sure I can take it somewhere and get them drug tested.
Absolutely, we have the paperwork that we can send you that you can bring to the hospital or wherever the facility that we have at the time that's open.
So do I contact you
Yes, you can call me, Brooke, or Tanya.
on Saturday?
On Saturday.
Okay.
Our office phone rings to our personal phone, so we do answer the phone on weekends.
Okay. Okay, that works. Thank you.
Or emergencies like that.
Because the only reason I'm saying that is because on Saturday sanitation.
Yes.
So that's always been a kind
The sheriff's department calls us all, whenever they have that on the weekends, and we help them out.
So sanitation has always been a question in my mind of why they were even on the ground. Because at best, all we're doing is pushing a button. They're driving, no, they're not. They're driving trucks.
We stated at the beginning, if they are driving a vehicle, put it on.
They're not driving anything.
Okay. Do they ever run the back
No.
Listen,
See, I do.
that Ram has got great big old,
I get it, but that's no different than the shredder. You push his button, putting paper in the shredder. I'm just making a little argument.
If you drive the loader, just push the trash down to make it work.
I get it. I'm just saying, it always seemed weird to me.
No, if they're not driving an equipment or a county vehicle, they don't need to be on it.
But they are.
Because you put a name on the list, because we called each one of you and said, give us a list, because we don't know what people do in your office. So if they're added to the list, then they're on there. If they don't need to be on there, let us know, we'll take them off the list.
Okay.
So are y'all on the list? Because I'm on the list.
All commissioners have the tendency or ability to drive a vehicle, even though they have their own, at the last minute, they can jump to a county vehicle, so yes, the court decided that the commissioners could be on it.
Transparency.
Yes.
We didn't want to test our employees and not test ourselves.
Same.
That's right.
That's what it was about.
And that's all kind of.
yeah, I get that.
That's all kind of.
All right. 26, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve naming of, it says park, it should say park, adjacent to San Jacinto County Head Start.
I guess we've heard a lot of discussions for and against. I've heard a lot more praise. I think everybody up on this board is.
Earlier, we read out about 10 names, and one more came up. Didn't one more come up? Didn't y'all tell me about it?
And the kids.
Or those.
Yeah, there was another one.
Cooksey.
Who?
Miss Cooksey.
Miss Cooksey, I forgot about Miss Cooksey. That was, Lois Cooksey was county clerk back in the day, when she was either coming to work or on her way home. Anyway, in that 946, one of them curves, she had a wreck and was killed in a car wreck. And she was the active county, she was the county clerk, and I think we appointed, that's when Miss Van took Charlotte name. Wow. It's been a while. I don't know.
So with everything we heard, and I'm gonna look at you when I say this, there's no disrespect about Neil.
Nice.
Everybody here, the hair stands up on my back when I'm talking about this, on my neck. But I wish we could come to a compromise and kind of have a twofold name, being something in there, or the pavilion or something, where you're semi-satisfied and the rest of the public semi-satisfied. That's my opinion.
Can I speak?
And it's solely ours too. And first thing is, I understand how much time and effort you put into it. And I commend you. And you said something to me this morning. And I took it for heart. And I'll tell you what you told me. You know all these people since you've been here almost 15 years. And you haven't done nothing basically. Basically, kind of what you said. And I agree with that. And I haven't. So I commend you for what you did.
All I'm asking, and this is just my chance, the foundation of this park is a memorial park. I mentioned it to you at the very beginning when I wanted to start this, that I wanted it to be a memorial park. I am putting a memorial, or we are putting a memorial, I'm sorry. We are putting a memorial in there. I'm opening the door, and I'm asking that you name it Neil Adams Memorial Park, and it's opening the door for you to be able to start memorializing the people that mean so much to us. If you tell me no now, I'm still going to build this park. I'm still going to have a very, very good working relationship with you. That's not what is on the table.
And I want to tell you, thank you for that.
What I'm
Thank
asking
you
is
so much.
to open this door, and in the future, that y'all start memorializing people, Thomas Bonds, or Judy Eaton, or any of the people that worked hard for this community, just like Neil Adams. And we can start making a difference. And you go to any other county, and you've got roads and bridges and buildings and everything named after people that did a lot of work in this county. And the only thing I'm asking is to open the door and let's start doing that. And I'm asking you to start doing that. Again, it's really up to you to make this decision. I'm still going to work as hard for this park, whether it goes either way.
This is hard for me because you know how much I love you.
No, I know, and I know, you know what, this is not about your loyalty to me. This is not what this is about. I'm not questioning anyone's loyalty.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
What I'm asking is just to hear me out and take that into consideration and know moving forward when you want to memorialize somebody that it is open the door or you shut the door.
Sure.
So.
Well, I don't think it shuts the door. I mean, we're able to do that at any time. I mean, but.
I know it is.
This is the hardest so far for me because I represent both sides out here and I have a soft spot for you also. I also represent Mary, who's the kid, and I participated. Very hard spot for me.
And either way we go, I think some acknowledgement should be given to that who was a 10-year-old girl that she planted the seed that got.
True, and I had Dale Everett working on a plaque for her that I was going to present to her that would be in there, but I mean, those are all the considerations that I have been doing, so.
But once we get past this hurdle, we can still work on all of those. I hope we never, ever have to put another plaque up because we've lost another Neil Adams. No, but I'm pretty sure that we may have to. I hope. Yeah, me too.
You know, I served 25 years in the military, and so I've seen people that have been put up for different awards and stuff like that. And most of the time, anybody I've seen that's gotten accolades and stuff like that, it's a group deal, and they really don't want it to be drawn to them, but somebody always ends up getting picked out and going, okay, we're putting you up for this. You know, and I didn't know Neil at all, heard good things about him from here and other places, but you know, I guess he'd be like, probably down that same line is that, you know, it's not about me. He served the community out there, and I appreciate what she's doing, and stuff does get named after people now and then. But I guess I'm at the side of the house that it's a memorial for all people in there, that you memorialize them by doing things inside and not standing out, and I would guess that he would probably be the same way. That you know, he's one of a team of officers or firefighters, first responders, and all that type of deal. So I'm more inclined to go with something that's more memorial without somebody's name on it myself. So whatever we end up deciding to do.
And I think I feel the same way. You know, I talked to you several times about this, and I feel the same way. I don't think it should be. I think if we should have some kind of big plaque with everybody's name or honor or heroes, fallen, whatever. But we just can't name it one person because that's gonna. And I commend you for much work you've done on this, and I really do. But I just don't think that I could vote to name it one person's. Well, we had so many people die in the line of duty in this county that I can name 8 or 10 off the top of my head. That's in the same boat that everybody's in. So I just don't think I could name it that. I don't have a problem naming it Memorial Park, the Hero Park, whatever. But just put one name at the top. I won't do that, and I won't. So this is what I said.
I did hear the heroes and stuff come out there, and I like that. I've seen that on one before, and I thought that was pretty cool, but I don't, we got a lot of stuff. I mean, San Jacinto County Heroes Memorial Park, it makes a mouthful across. I don't know what the sign would look like. But I like that. I like the sound of heroes in there, which these guys are, that give their life for whatever it is, military, first responders.
For all our heroes, man. For all our heroes.
All right.
Any suggestions on that?
One more question to Dee Dee about all the hard work you've been putting in there. And I'm gonna put out there one more time, and you and I have already talked about this. Is there not a way to carve off a section in there and call it?
Just track, walkway.
I mean, you know,
Or you said the pavilion. We're going,
I mentioned the pavilion, I mentioned the pavilion.
Bathroom?
Bathroom,
We don't mean it like the bathroom, we don't mean it that way.
And look,
We don't mean it that way.
this is, may I just say one thing?
we've had all.
Okay, it's got nothing to do with the naming of the
Now, please, let us.
Well,
let's do our good thing.
you're making an assumption
Now,
that people
would
who
you
die of natural causes should be in that park, and I'm saying, no, that's not a hero. That's a person who died.
Okay, that's enough, man.
Thank you. Look, I'm gonna say this. You know where my heart is, you know what I'm asking for. But like I said before, the foundation of this park is Memorial Park.
Very nice.
Well, I'd make a motion, I'd like to make a motion that we name the San Jacinto County Memorial Park.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sweeney to name the park San Jacinto County Memorial Park.
Is that acceptable to you?
It is.
Huh? I'll second that then.
Second by Commissioner Mars.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you.
I agree.
I agree with Crystal that this is probably one of the hardest things any of us has ever had to do. Any other comments? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, 2 times 5-0. Item number 27, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve the purchase of new building for San Jacinto County Sheriff's Department. I didn't even see this on the agenda. How did this get on the agenda?
Which one?
Purchase of new building?
Is this something we deal with out here in open board, or is this closed?
I didn't realize this was on the.
Is this a metal building over here, or we got something else that we might need to talk this in closed session? We don't want every little building we're trying to buy.
How would you pay for a new building? Right now, we just voted, yes, let's buy that building. We don't have anything budgeted to buy a new building.
That's correct. I brought this up and I was told to put it on the agenda.
I told you to put it on the agenda, right?
That's right.
Amen. We don't call it down there.
So let me ask you a question, what is the purpose of the building?
The purpose of the building would be because right now, we use a closet for an interview, to interview anybody that comes in. Victims, suspects, everybody. We use a closet at this moment. Our detectives are all sitting on top of each other. This building is directly across the street, just catty corner.
We just bought a building right over there. You might not have heard me. I put $100,000 in there to fix that building. That's a portable building, and they want $95,000 on it. That's almost 2,500 feet. intentions of not fixing it. So we are trying to address that problem, but we don't have any money in this budget to
That
right
building's
now.
up for sale, it's directly across the street. Eventually, as our county keeps growing, we're gonna have to grow with the county. And that property is just right across the street with the sheriff's. And eventually, I'd like to see the county, when the county grows, instead of going buying a whole different purchase of property, we could actually grow right there where we're at.
We bought 5 acres adjacent to the jail, and this court's had discussions about
Right here,
building a law enforcement center over there.
where your horse den is, that whole is owned by the county now.
5 acres there, we got plenty of.
Goes all the way back
We don't
there.
have any money in this budget allocated to buy a piece of property.
So we did build the building behind the park with intentions of putting offices in the front of it for detectives.
Correct.
To get them out of the sheriff's office so you can have them. So that's not.
I'm happy with that too.
I mean, finish that, I don't know.
Well, the reason we have it is because that's what our plan started out to be. Then the dispatch was going, remember, come be a Taj Mahal of the last. And those
I still got the plan, it's 19 years old to build. We do have plans, and that's why we bought that land over.
That's why I'm saying, that's the reason we built the building over there. Was to put the detectives over there.
I get it, I'm looking at.
And that ain't all. There was too much conflict. You're not up there screaming and cussing and hollering at us.
No,
There was
I'm
too
trying
much
to
conflict, we wasn't about to, till something changed, we were not about to do anything. I'm just telling you.
I can tell you now, what they're asking for the building and what the property, correct me if I'm wrong, I have that, it's what, 54, I think it's valued at basically 56.4. All because they're asking 90,000, doesn't mean that's what we.
Our intent was, where y'all had the cars at over there, that was gonna be just for the detectives. Correct? But it got to be so out of hand with, that's where we was gonna move the detectives, because we knew y'all was busted out the seams over there before y'all's administration. And that was the whole plan, but then it's all of a sudden, oh, this wasn't good enough. We had to have an upstairs, we're gonna move the dispatch, we got this big break room in there, this big conference room.
Well, and over here, we appointed a committee with an engineer and an architect and the sheriff, and we sent them over there and said, we want to build about a 5,000 square foot building.
Future.
That ain't all that big, really, but 5,000 foot, and we had, maybe 700,000, 800,000, whatever it takes.
Plans.
They come back with a $5.5 million proposal, and everybody was just blown away, and it just, we can't even,
Just for all.
we have to pass a bond to do that.
I saw it. I got the plans.
It was offices, it wasn't even the jail.
I make a motion that we table this.
Now, motion to table by Commissioner Sweeney, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Downey to table, all in favor to table this? Any opposed? The ayes have it, we're tabled. There are things on the drawing board, right? If we had the money and we were in the end, I like acquiring more land for county benefit, because we're growing, and I think we do have a vision towards the future.
But it all seems.
We're in the budget process right now, and if they want to add enough money to buy that for the future,
I thought that was supposed to table it.
trying to explain why he just got shut down. Okay, it's tabled, you're right, my brother. Item number 28, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve Operation Lone Star purchase of ammo.
So the only question I have about this is, did you check any local vendors to see if you can buy that local land for about the same price? You know, the people that go up there and just shoot at the gun
Well,
range.
these are paper killing bullets.
Did you what?
They're just, full metal jacket bullets.
I'm just saying, did you ask them? I mean, instead of going out of the county and buying, that's all the problem I have.
No,
Ain't they out of the county?
Who?
Trinity Army.
No, not too well.
oh, we call Trinity Army versus this. It's cheaper.
No, I know what you're talking about.
You found the best price you could, that's how the same tax per month, correct?
Correct.
And it's in the Lone Star, but is that one of the things that they mentioned in the application? It's okay to spend it on this?
It's under
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Have a motion by Commissioner
I'll
Barber,
second that, we need all the ammo we can use.
second by Commissioner Dominic. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous, 5-0.
We got a lot of them on there.
Item number 29, consideration, discussion, possible vote to approve increase reserve deputy positions. Yes,
Hey, you wanna go to what?
15.
you know, it hadn't been much brought up. We used to talk about things like this years ago. I'm glad to see you want to increase the reserve. That's an underutilized resource.
That is correct, sir.
Now, Chief, would that help us some on our fairgrounds? Is that
It
what-
helps us with every option between the courthouse, our environmental deal, the fairgrounds. Overall, it just helps us.
And I think you probably are required to have the board approve it when you increase. Maybe it's just for keeping communications, but is there any other shoe that's fixing to drop? What is that gonna, does that cost a bunch of extra money to do that some kind of way?
Well, most of my reserves, we get them to use, some of our surplus, uniforms and stuff. Now, we do have to purchase sometimes an item here or there, but it's not gonna really
That's
increase.
not on this, you just wanna increase the number from 8 to 15.
So for,
And we'll say it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Tuno, a second by Commissioner Sweeney, to increase the reserves from 8 to 15. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, unanimous, 5-0. Item number 30.
May I bring up one more thing, sir?
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be very quick.
Yes, sir.
Just to let y'all know, we applied to 100 club, 2 steps. I was given the phone call yesterday. They are gonna furnish our whole department and 8 reserves in all brand new vests and outfits.
Thank you for that. Thank you. You gotta go try to get 15 reserves now.
Right, they told me they do it. I was happy with that. If they're gonna send me, all the paperwork and everything, I'll bring it to you.
Awesome. So, number 31, you're still standing there. Consideration discussion possible vote for necessary action to purchase under Operation Lone Star. Anything under that kind of slipped through the
We
cracks?
already did, so no, sir.
Good, good. Thank you, Chief.
thank you.
I enjoyed visiting y'all yesterday.
Thank you.
Item number 30, consideration discussion possible vote to approve necessary action regarding matters pertaining to the park. I think the last time we were on here, you had found a heck of a deal on some playground equipment. And the commissioner was concerned about how it was gonna be fixed to the ground or something, and there was.
Now, this is not the one you kind of said you didn't like this one.
She brought it up.
So how it's fixed to the ground is you auger a hole.
Concrete, yeah.
Concrete, I mean, that's.
Well, that's how you do it.
I also, just for transparency, yesterday received an email regarding some other equipment.
This one.
They're around the same price, but they're considerably
Lesser.
lesser. And, you know, the price is cheaper and the product.
So,
Wait a minute.
did you want to go with the
This
first
one is
one?
lesser.
The amount is lesser, but not as good
Not
as
the
the other.
same carrier.
Yeah, not as good as the other.
So you still want to go with the original one, make sure.
Yes, sir. After court, Mark got to get on the phone with them and ask the questions that they wanted. They did drop another $1,000 off if we wanted to.
Yes, ma'am.
It is,
Another thousand?
we were under 100 with this station, yeah, correct?
Okay, I guess, our next question is, who's putting this thing together? That's where we're going.
Well, so I've talked to several people, DP has a lot of knowledge. Ryan Matthews that is on the committee, he has built several of them.
That's right, I was thinking who else was on there, and he just dropped off.
And I do believe with those people with y'all's knowledge, we can get inmates to help us and we can put it together.
Okay, we gotta have some kind of chips and probably.
I spoke to you and you said you had a guy that possibly could bring in those chips for us.
Yeah, not just rubber, but I would think, we're gonna need some kind of plastic chips for this thing.
That's an option.
Because you
All
can't
of
put
the
a
other
chips.
playground equipment people that do this, they would always have several options, rubber, different things, and one of them was steel wood chips. They still do that. There's a playground in Montgomery County that they just built with this wood
I
chips.
just think these
I
things,
saw some in my recent travels that had wood chips.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about that, that was.
I just think these little stands, these things there, are gonna be on some kind of concrete pillar. Something's
Are
down
you
the
talking about the
ground.
edges?
No, they said they put a footing around.
That's what I meant, put a footing.
They'll send a diagram with the new drive.
Okay.
The hole's gotta be
Oh, so 10
1
inches.
inches around by 3 inches.
Yeah, they have actually already emailed over
So
the
which one? You want
step-by-step
this one?
diagrams.
Is this one you're looking at about?
Yes, sir.
Is that a motion?
Do we got the money?
Yes, sir.
We got the money and the tax to do it?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Morris, second by Commissioner Donovan.
Any hotel motels?
Yes.
Yes.
So, but just before that, we have to have it to them by August the 15th, I think is. Can we do a daily?
Yeah. Once we approve today,
I probably would
Or
accept the
it can
PO.
go in Fridays?
It's not budgeted or anything.
They
Yeah,
accept.
however y'all do that.
Come on, man, you gotta rescind the
Fridays.
board.
Cause y'all are busy too, you're gonna have to run time to do this.
Hey, general fund stuff.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Did you say it went down for him?
$1,000.
Yeah, but I want you to explain to them on this park stuff, where the money's coming from, where.
So hotel motel taxes that I have, that 3 years ago, y'all did not collect. Started collecting that. It's to use for economic development. Sorry,
And it gonna be used for
and it
advertising.
can only be used for advertising parks, things like that.
That's all, I told people.
Yeah. We're limited in what we
That's
can
right.
use it for.
Right now, we have over
41.
something.
241.
So, this is,
The world, so they can see what.
That way you get Mr. D or something.
it's,
So,
trying
and I got it on sale, it's normally 64,000, and I got it on sale for 90. So, it's a deal, so I wanted to jump on it.
to, playground boss, is that the? Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Morris, second by Commissioner Dominic to approve the purchase of.
That's what I just said. You said you don't wanna keep it?
Playground equipment, the Play King playground equipment to Playground Boss for $91,000.
91,443.
Any other questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, it's unanimous.
Sorry, it's still 92, they already added that 1,000. They already added that 1,000 onto it. 92,443.
All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you for all your hard work. I still can't believe you found something that nice for that price.
Thanks for the comment. Thank you for that.
Anything else on, as far as getting chips, things like that?
I tried to call my contact to see if they would be offering, I think they're in a plane on the way to Nashville with the boss. It would have been a good time to put him on the spot.
I Also, we did talk to them about the delivery of it, they will hold it until we're ready.
Is it really still to donate some chips to the County Control Program?
I got a whole lot of, it's just 43
I
acres.
think you got 122 yards or something.
But the playground was in place with
Gotta be clean.
the guys said that they couldn't do it.
We got some.
Yeah, I already spoke to John, he said
What do you say? Their stuff is clean. That's what we need, my stuff is dirty. I
But I mean, that takes, oh, I guess it's like, as long as they commit to it. Landscaper's pride, whoever.
Because I can always up there.
Okay, but you know what?
I like my stuff.
Okay, because I was at the,
Anything else on the park stuff? Thank you, man. Let's go back to number 6. Consider approval of claims. So while we're looking at the bills, I still want to say that, Miss Dee Dee brought me up to snuff on, there's been a rule change in the time that we have to give when we're posting an agenda. It was forever, it's been 72 hours. And now it's 3 business days. So and my brain thinks that, for instance, Easter, Good Friday is a holiday, so that week of Good Friday, instead, I don't think you can count the holiday as a business day, so to post a meeting for Wednesday, you got Monday, Tuesday, and then the third day would be Thursday, so I'd have to be posting it on Wednesday. So, and that comes effective September the 1st. So I'm gonna do my level best to break a 20-year habit and try to do it.
Yeah.
But there's other days that maybe we're off Monday, or there's a holiday on Monday, Martin Luther King, or whoever falls on Monday.
Most of them are.
We're gonna have to be on the lookout to make sure we comply with the change in the notice requirements.
So
Not
the
sure why they did
September
that.
budget meeting, the September budget meeting is the first meeting that has to be done that way.
Yeah.
I'll have to post it, and then Labor Day's in there somewhere too.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll probably have to do that a week before.
Meetings on the
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you and reminding you that that meeting is the
I
first
told
meeting.
her to write that on the calendar, because it could be a week, almost a week before. Wouldn't that be something? We don't comply with that, we get a balanced budget, and we end up throwing the budget out, something like that.
Hey, I don't know if y'all get all y'all disclaimers at the first of the year, we're gonna send them out asking the conflicts and stuff. What about people being in business? I feel all my guys every year, I don't know if you get them, I just wanna make sure of that.
You still feel them out?
I know, I'm fine. You follow them too.
So there was one issue I had in here about the, Stevens Creek Park Like Water, there's $11,000 bill in there for a grant. And I just asked them to make sure that the water company pays for that, because that's their fault.
Which one are you talking about?
It's in one above 91, I think. Page 1 of
Are you talking about the page?
grants. It's in the grants. It's to Langford. But it's a pass-through grant that we gave them permission to go to us. But I just wanna make sure that we're aware that they're paying for that.
Same way we do water, we all know private work companies.
Do you know what he's talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't see it? Langford, it's paying Langford, it's not ours.
$1,000 or 10,000? Oh,
That's their portion of it.
yeah, PVC water. So how does that work?
I'll be billing them.
You need to bill them and get the money. Okay. Good deal.
I remember on CC asphalt, I need to pick their money up Friday.
I'm pretty sure I'll double check with
It's- I know, but I just wanna make sure that these
I'll make a motion to pay the LCC.
asphalt I pick up Friday.
I have a motion by Commissioner Natuno.
I have some record bills that I need to exclude from.
You abstain from all record
Yes, sir.
bills that are in there,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Mars.
That's second.
A second.
I have a second by Commissioner Mars to pay the bills, but he abstains in approving any bill that's paid to his
GW's resection.
GW's record. Is East Tex not?
Yes, both of them.
Or East Tex towing?
A6 on GW record service.
Any other questions or comments? Let me write that down. Abstain from record. Any other comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, but unanimous, 5-0. Yes, ma'am.
I see that. I think it was,
He asked me a question, I can only do one thing at a time. Oh, who wrote it blue like me? Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to do it?
Item number 7, consider approval of budget amendments and revenue certifications. JP 2, $300. JP 2, $300. JP 4, office supplies, 500, and travel, 500. Run over on our travel.
Decrease in travel, and put it in office supply.
Oh, okay. I'm just looking at the sheet here. It says increase in office supplies. You're right. You got that wrong. Capital outlay, road and bridge 1, $45,527. By the way, that's something else, that's what I did not remember. I put in sanitation 40,000.
Yes.
To cover some, whatever issues you had there.
what issues are there for fishing and drainage?
I know they're all, ain't none of them road and bridge issues since they're happening.
Thank you. That's what you're making out?
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Operating supplies and machine rental, precinct 1, 50,000. Operating, what kind of operating supplies?
What you got? You need
Buy a hot tub or what?
With all the jets.
50,000 in operating supplies?
That's not his, that's his.
Oh, never mind. I got my lick in, that's all.
It's actually moving into contractor services. No, that's a typo.
What now? That's what they contract.
Moving it from road maintenance material to contractor services.
Sanitation?
Not for our quick walls.
These are to cover your buying the tractor.
Now,
This again, for a base. You can buy it.
Because he went through that source deal, they dropped to $12,000, it was like $60,000. Yeah, pick the front end loader off.
That's a $10,000 loss.
Well,
I didn't need that from more.
We got
now tell me it's not four-wheel drive,
It's
is it?
just four-wheel drive.
But it don't come with no joysticks for the.
Yeah, I got two.
I ain't sure I'm not tractor without a front-end loader these days.
Well, he's just gonna be mowing, it's gonna be in his way.
Yeah, it'll be that way.
Sure he's gonna take it off.
Well, that's,
Cause I got plenty of stuff that has grapples and everything on there.
you took it off when you didn't buy it, right? No, he bought it without. Yeah, that's good.
Cause it was all three tractors, the Passive First and John, they were all at $1,500 each day. That's it.
Well, that's a good tractor.
And they're
saying three had some problems with the transmission on one particular model a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was a piece of cheese,
Just like that.
right? He did too. Precinct one did too.
Okay. We'll change oil and, services. So that-
It's not getting the grade before the warranty wears off.
There you go.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, servicing usually.
That's a good price.
From Lakers and they're charging
I'll make the motion to approve the budget amendment and revenue certification.
Have a motion by Commissioner Natuno. Second by Commissioner Sweeney. Any other comments, questions, all in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Now, it says Kim Webb, PhD, JP, PCT4.
That's still
I've
good.
never seen that.
It's a good.
I remember getting, JP, we can remove first. JP's off getting the first.
From somewhere else.
Do you want to use yours? Yeah, let's please.
She's like, I have pads.
Thank you.
And you're looking.
Precinct, JP4 is transferred to precinct 2. I think so, Gary.
I did not have it in stock.
So it was announced last week. I was trying to remember everything that y'all wanted that went into the budget. If she's reading my automobile, don't go precinct 2.
Destination charges.
John's retiring. Anything else here?
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
I thought it. I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Thank you so much. That's been